stream. Twitch is already going. Probably should bring up my chat so I can see what's going on. Get some emotes. Okay, I'm here. Hello, hello. Happy today. It's Saturday. And this is what I did last stream. I was pretty happy with it. I was actually thinking about doing another day of detailing, but I'm gonna take a break from that and just chill out with some Plein April. Plein Air April. That's what I'm gonna do. I've decided. Let's go to. Let's see. What am I doing? Is everything up and running? Yes. Okay. We'll remove that. Map Crunch. Let's go to Map Crunch and find a location. Alright, I want to paint something. Oh, this is nice. This looks like it could be from where I live. It's not, but this is in Hungary, but it looks, you know, similar terrain and stuff. This is cool. We haven't really painted anything quite like this before, I don't think. Like top-down, almost very top-down view. Just lots of little houses and fields. These are always fun to paint because you can kind of make the shapes of the fields and stuff whatever you want. We could start with that. Now the question is, do we want to do like a far out view like this? Where you have like just as far as the eye can see, or do we want to tilt it downward and do more aerial view? Are we in a balloon? What are we in? What's the, is this a drone? Probably a drone. Yeah, my guess is drone. It's always fun when you see a photo like this and you look down or up and then you can see like a hot air balloon. It's always cool. Up the cloud shape. I do like this. This is kind of, I definitely like I mean, the green and red, it looks pretty neat. You know what? I think we'll just paint something like this. Maybe with the water back there so we don't have to go as like something like that, maybe. Yeah, let's paint one of these scenes as a warm-up. I mean, it's kind of big and there's a lot of stuff, but I think we can get the vibe of it. Very, very simplified, just the, you know, big blocky shapes. This is gonna be like a quick one. Like maybe we'll do like a short and then we'll increase the amount of time. Oh, I have my webcam blocked. Like maybe I'll do like a thing where I increase the amount of time between them. I don't think I'm gonna set a timer because I'm not a big fan of that. And I also don't feel like I need to. I think we can just focus, keep it looser and like we can still spend time, but we'll keep the scope of what our goals are just to be more like big shapes and vibe and colors rather than like I'm gonna make every field, you know, that kind of thing, which I think is a fine goal if you're gonna. Also, this is kind of cool too. Okay, actually, I kind of have a different goal now, which might not be a quick one. So this scene does not look inherently nice in my opinion, but I do really like the idea or the feeling of this giant mountain with all this farmland around. So I think what I might do is basically exaggerate all of that. Like I'll use this for all the farmland around, but the mountain will be exaggerated. I'll make it so we can see it better. I think that's what I'm going to do. I've just decided that would be a more interesting image, and also I think it gives some fun opportunity to really like show this area. That's my goal. If anybody wants the link, it's literally just the regular MapCrunch link, but I'll give the link anyway because this was the default page. So if you're on YouTube or on Twitch, I should say Twitch or YouTube because Twitch is the main space. Hey, Skittle, how's it going? Happy Saturday. It is Saturday, right? Yeah, Saturday. Or Saturday. Okay, let's open up a new file. This is not the new file. That's okay. I'm making a new folder now. Skittle, hope you're doing well today. Hope everyone's doing well. What did I just do? I almost just renamed something. 931 streams that we've done. Almost 1,000 streams. That's a lot of streams. Can I just say that's a lot. It's crazy how it adds up. And it may not sound like a lot, 1,000 streams, but that's 4,000 hours. Well, not quite, but probably pretty close. Might even be more, actually. I don't know. I wonder how, because my average stream is about 4 hours, right? I used to be very punctual. Nowadays, I go a little bit less. Some days I've gone very much over. I bet you it's over. 'Tis more than 2 hours for sure, yeah. I mean, that's 1,000 streams a lot. That's like, yeah. I know Twitch keeps track of how many hours you've streamed, right? So I could just look it up and it would tell me. Now I'm curious. Where, actually, Skittle, do you know where you find that info of how many hours you've streamed total? I think there's a number somewhere, right? Also, this is annoying. Hold on, let's do this. We might do more than 4 here, but I'm just gonna write these numbers. But yeah, I like stream as a way to like, I mean, not really keep track of art time, but it does. Now you have to go to analytics and then widen the range to the moment you started streaming, I think. Okay, that's too obnoxious for me. I'm too lazy to do that. Actually, no, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it right now because I'm not, well, I was going to say I'm not doing anything else. I'm literally doing other things. But let's do that. Let's figure it out. I'm going to go to, how do I do that? Channel. No, I'm in dashboard. Analytics. Overview. No, I think it shows, isn't there achievements? And it says how many hours you've streamed? Or is that just watch hours? Oh yeah, that's watch hours. Okay, that's not the same. It's analytics, overview. Change the time to, I don't know when I started. Can I just scroll back to like 1947? Hey, why did it let me scroll back so far? What the heck? Update. Hold on. I'm afraid to show this on stream because it might be weird. Okay. Start date. Why is it only saying last 30 days? How do I... Is there a way for me to, like... Day, month, week. Is there... Do I have to, like, manually go back? What's the deal? There's gotta be a better way to do this. You can change the range manually. I'm trying, but it's not working. It keeps doing... If I go to 19... End date... July 2020... Oh, not 2023. We'll go... I'm just clicking like crazy to get back to today's date. Does it only go... Why is it doing this? I don't know when I started streaming, but I'm pretty sure... I'm like gonna go... It was pretty sure it was after... Okay, December 2019. Update. Okay, it's loading. We've got it. Sorry. Apparently I did stream in the time that I selected, but it is over 4,000. Okay, right, man, that's close. That is like right, yeah, 4,117 hours. I was like right there. I mean, yeah, that's crazy. All right, well, that's exciting. That's a lot of time. I don't, is that I think that's exciting. Okay, back to art. Thanks, Skittle. Thanks for helping me look into that. If you go back too far, it'll break. Uh-oh, I hear myself. It is funny, though, that it lets you go back and, like, into the, like, 1920, back in the, like, when cars were being invented. It's like, ah, yes, thank you, Twitch, for allowing me to see how much I streamed back in the 1920s. But you know what? I suppose if they want to do that, then they can. All right. Good to know. I did not stream in 1920. Okay, I'm gonna do some painting. Let's put this back on screen. There we go, like that. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, that'll work right here. So I think for this one, I like the idea of the big mountain thing here. And I'm gonna go, I'm gonna like tilt the angle, right? I do like all of this. And I like that along the edge, there's all these houses and stuff. But I also like that it feels larger here. And then down here, we'll go more like almost vertical. Something like that. Okay, let's start putting colors down. Blue sky. Doesn't have to be blue. It's actually a pretty gray sky, isn't it? I mean, I don't know why it looks so... Actually, wait, what am I looking at? What is that? I need the real deal. Oh, that's what that is. I was like, what is that dark line? So that dark line was this gray bar up here. Okay, so the sky is just blue. Like that. It gets bluer up there, less blue down here. Okay, that works. Back in Mud Day, streaming was different, yeah. Back like before radio even existed, or before TV existed. They just called it putting on a play. That was streaming, was just doing a stage play. Hold on. What am I doing? Let's keep that there, but I want to move. I want to be painting below my grid. We'll make this a little smaller. Wait. There we go. All right. That'll work. I feel like there's a weird wavery thingy on my webcam. It's like flickering. I think it's been doing that the last few streams. I should probably fix that one of these days and figure out why it's doing that. Also, I'm still... Oh my goodness, I painted on... My sketch is on the wrong layer. I'm just gonna make a selection here. Cut, paste, there we go. Make this to be no color palette. Merge those. There we go. That should be better. All right, so I think we want to start with that blue. We can get a little lighter at the bottom, a little darker at the top. No, like darker blue, like that. Like more blue. It doesn't need to be super blue. Then I'm just going to make like a super rough gradient kind of coming down here. Keep that lightness back there. I'm just going to take some darker green, but keep it very, very gray. Actually, let's do a bluer green on the left side. Like a dark blue-green. Which is probably even not... That's too green. There we go. Something like that. And then on the other side, we'll go like that warmer... That's way too green. Something like this. There. That still might be too green. Like, we're talking almost gray here. I think that's a good green color. That feels much more realistic of green. It's funny, if you look at the slider here, just how green, like, this feels green to me anyway. Maybe not to you guys, I don't know. And yet, I'm basically painting with gray. Like, this is almost not even green. I mean, it is green, but, like, compared to what the green that we have, like, the options, like, we have very, very green. I mean, this is basically gray. Right? In fact, if you put it in the saturated green, it almost looks like something that is not, right? It almost looks like a light pink. Especially if you were to bump up the well, no, that's about right. It feels about bright pink. Feels like this color, kinda, but a lighter version. Like, it's very, very gray. Anyway, real life does not have that, I mean, you can get vibrant colors, but I still feel like the colors that feel vibrant tend to not be. Your brain just tells you they are because you don't have anything else in context. And real life does it really well because it's so dang consistent. Okay, here's that. Put in some colors. I think over here, what I want to do is take this, like, dusty color. I know dust doesn't have a color. We argued about that on stream before. What color is dust? No, it's a dirty color. This dirty gray, tan color, which I think is a great color, but also, yeah, it's like a gray orange. And then little splotches over here. And then kind of between the splotches, there's like more green, but it's even lighter, even more yellow. That's way too... Something like that, maybe? Now, the question is, because I'm trying to intentionally make this mountain thing look bigger. So I think I want to make these go up the hill a little bit more. And this is very, very soft right now, and I'm not sure if I like that. But I also kind of want to keep some of these distant shapes back here. Like some of these. Some of these, right? Some of these far out distant shapes. So I'm kind of just exaggerating the mountain in a way and trying to keep all the other stuff there. I don't really know what all this stuff down here is. Just kind of gonna put it in like big patches. Big old chunky shapes. Just literally painting with like the square shape of the brush. And trying to keep the chunks square because most of these plots of land are square. But it also looks like if you zoom in here, the border of where the trees are is pretty like defined. So we can come in here and make defined shapes for where the borders of the trees are. And then, of course, there's smaller tree groves scattered, which I should probably just use like a round brush and just literally make round shapes here and there. I don't know, this is kind of looking funky. And then we have some more up here with the brighter colors. These are like in the sun. I'm trying to go very blocky. Blocky? What am I trying to say? Blotchy. Splotchy. Lots of just like chunky, rocky shapes, things that are nondescript and undefined. That's kind of what I'm trying here. Oh dear, I've already dropped some frames. I don't know what's going on. I think it must be my computer temperature or something. It wasn't doing this all winter, and then it starts heating up, and then my computer starts dropping frames again. Although it could be a coincidence. Like every year I feel like I deal with this, and I have never really totally figured it out because I haven't been able to like upgrade and test things to know. Because like I'm kind of just stuck with what I have. Okay. Now let's now sketch in some lines, and I think this is where the illusion's gonna come together really, really well. Is making this like cross-hatching pattern. Just some, like where the fields are, you know? Like if this is a field, we might have the rows of things, and then you might have another field here with rows of stuff. And then this one. And of course they're in squares here. Now, the thing that drew me to this image was the little houses in here. So we had like paths that were a little brighter, meandering through here. Again, I'm not drawing the exact paths, but just paths that meander. In fact, I'm going to try to keep the paths tighter together, closer together back here. Less close together here. And then along here, little tiny red houses, or red roofs. I thought those were the neatest little things in this image. Just little spots. In fact, I'm going to even brighten them up. I'm going to make them extra bright. Just to make sure we can see them. Maybe as they go into the sun, we can get a little brighter. Just little tiny houses, almost like we're drawing a map. Just top-down view. I think it's kind of fun. Trying to keep the edges very well defined, though. Basically, restricting my brush shapes to rectangles, L's, basically the Tetris pieces. Okay, something like that's not bad. And then, what about this stuff? What am I looking at? Kind of hard to tell, and I think that's okay. I think what I want to do, though, is use that texture brush a little more. I think that's my goal here. Now we can show the texture of the... Is there maybe a better brush for this? There's gotta be a better brush for this. That's not a bad brush. We can get some of that texture in here. Just something to make this texture on this mountain feel a little more textury, whereas everything else won't have that texture. Something like that, maybe. I like that. That's a nice those are nice. And then we can even come in here and sort of carve out some shapes. And everything we carve out, because it's using that same texture brush, it's sort of giving that illusion of the same tree stuff. Stuff like that. All those texture. What about the shape of the mountain itself? I mean, it's not a super tall mountain, but maybe we can play around with some of the shapes here. Now the question is, does this... Did we push this in the way that I want to push it? Like, what about adding, what about making the ground more vibrant and colorful? Like where the houses are, and more green maybe. Because like if I look, I think the photo is actually more, the greens feel more green. I don't know if they are more green. I think it's just there's a smaller concentration of detail. And so when there is a bright color, it feels like it stands out a little more. Actually, there's just more contrast actually, right? Because like the greens, there's a wider range of greens. There's also more of a pattern of like where things are. Like the farmland isn't all in the same spot, and where there is farmland, there's like roads nicely between them, and then there's like houses only along the roads, not just randomly placed. And then there's like a radiating amount of farmland and stuff, sort of like you get more the bigger farms are farther away from the main road and where the houses are, but you still have smaller farms too near there. And so it's kind of like it's sort of, as you get further away, the shapes are bigger or something. I don't know. I feel like that's not bad. It's kind of cross-hatching back here. Do I like that? I think I do. Maybe a little bit foggy. Like, nope, not that. I feel like this, the sky could be a little bit like grayer or something. I don't know. Something like that, maybe. Just to get some of those, like, those bluish colors. Also, was there any clouds in the sky? I mean, we couldn't really see, right? Let's go back to our source material. There was clouds in the sky, a lot of them. But if the horizon line... Oh, yeah, definitely a lot, actually. And it's quite bluish purple down below. Actually, let's take a screenshot of that, too. Obviously, I'm not painting this exact scene because the angle is changing every time I move the camera. But this, to me, is like, if I want to add clouds, this is how I can get the vibe. So yeah, this is much, much lighter. And also, like, purpler, right? That's what I said. It feels much like a grayer purple down the horizon. And then as you get up, that's where you start to see some of these whiter clouds take shape. This might ruin the perspective a little bit because of the weird, like, you can't really ever see this much. But that's okay. I think it's okay. There, that's not bad. Again, we're totally exaggerated the mountain. Now, maybe we add a little bit more realism by adding additional mountains back here, so that if there were any, you can kind of feel like they're also bigger. Do you go to specific? So this place is a random place. So every day MapCrunch has a default location, and this is the default location for today. But yeah, I'll go to different places. I'll do random, and then we'll wander around a bit and find a place. What are these signs? We're in Virginia. We're in the U.S. apparently. And so yeah, we'll go to a place, be like, oh, this is a nice tree to paint or something. You know, we'll find an old house or something. Maybe we don't like the location and we hit random again and we go to a new spot and find something fun to paint. Maybe here we are in what, Iceland maybe? Norway? No, probably Iceland. I don't know where we are. Um, my guess is Iceland, but I don't actually know. And yeah, maybe we want to paint just this scene, this rural scenery. Maybe we want to take a trip. But yeah, Entity, how's it going? I do really like this though. It's a lot of fun. You can both discover cool places that you never would have seen, and yeah, like this is kind of a neat little spot. We're underneath the trees. This could be a neat spot to paint. Yeah, if you want any of the locations to like paint along and paint the same spots, I can send you the links. The first link, the one that I'm painting here, is here. Oops, what's that? Is it's just mapcrunch.com. Literally just the main site. It's the default one. Every day they have a new one, and this is today's. This one you can't travel because it's from like a drone, but it is still a panorama. Yeah, just mapcrunch.com. And I think my next one I'm gonna paint this spot. Yeah, this is my next location. Sorry, I'm just gonna drop links here for a moment. This is the second location that I'm gonna paint. But after that, the go button is just random, so you will probably never land on this image or this location that I'm at now. You'll have to use the link. I don't. The nice thing about this though is that unlike a photo, I mean this is still kind of like a photo, right? And I always, for anybody who's been here before during my the plein air pro things or virtual plein air painting, you've probably heard me say this a million times, but the nice thing over photos that I like about this is that these aren't like curated photos, right? They're just random locations, and if it looks nice, it looks nice. If not, it doesn't, right? And so you have to be the decider of like, where do you want to position yourself? Where do you want to take the photo? What are you looking at? What's your subject? Maybe this is what you want to paint, is the lake, which I think is what I want to paint. Or maybe you want to paint the grassy field over here, or you want to paint, yeah, we're doing some map crunch. So I'm liking that. I actually really like this. I think that there's something interesting about these colors. I want to change the colors here. At Faded Fatima, how's it going? So I'm tempted to paint this, but I already know the problem with this composition is that there's a line that goes straight down my composition, and it's dark. There's a tree on the left side is dark, on the right side it's light. That makes it extremely confusing. That's a bad composition. So I'm not gonna do that because I've learned from past mistakes. I have painted too many images where I'm like, oh, this is nice, and then my image looks like it's two separate images. So yeah, I'm not doing that this time. I might go like that and do like the reflection. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. Or maybe like this, and then maybe I'll add a bit of light back here or something. I bet if I go down here a bit, there will be a spot. Whoa, where are we? We're in the middle of the trees. This is kind of a neat spot. This isn't bad. Actually, I like that. The problem with this, though, is that now we're looking down here. Is there a way for me to get, like, 1/2 step between? No, I can't. I do like the... Oh, we're in a weird spot now. Get out of the brush. I think this is what I'm going to paint. There we go. Because this... Oops. Yeah, that's a good scene. Right there. I don't know how I'm going to tackle these trees. Screenshot that. Shout out to my guy who had to walk down here with a huge camera. Yeah! Yeah, I love it, though. There's so many cool places to explore and to discover. I'm actually going to take a couple photos. I like to have a few angles, even though I might paint from mostly just one. My goal is not to replicate the thing. And obviously everybody's goal is different. Yeah, I think it's nice. I actually am curious with the water because like the water has some greens in it, but also like it's kind of murky and muddy, and I don't know if I want to paint it. I want to change the color. Like maybe I'll make it purple or blue or something. I don't know. I'm gonna change colors here. So we're gonna do some stuff. Fatima says, all good, thanks. Hope you're well. I am doing well. My day is going nicely so far. Let's start with... I got an idea. We're going to do the red thing again. Some of my previous paintings, I've been starting with like a red underpainting for some basic values. And I've really been enjoying it because then when I put those greens against it or whatever color, it really makes the colors pop well. Or not pop, that's not the right word. It really makes the colors like vibrate with all the, you know, because like I'm using a textured brush and, oops, what did I just do there? I'm using a textured brush, so a lot of times those colors will poke through. Do you do art full-time or something else for work? I do half and half. Part-time art, part-time non-art job that is just like, you know, supplements my income to make sure that I'm not like stressing about making sure I find work and stuff in like the slower times. So it's half and half. But yeah, no, it's yeah, I always struggle with this question because on one hand, I kind of treat art and streaming. Okay, what is happening here? I kind of treat art and streaming as like a hobby, but then I also kind of treat it as a job. I don't know. It's a weird, kind of weird. Okay, what do I want to do for? I kind of like that this gets darker here. Obviously, I'm not painting with the right colors right now. But yeah, right now these streams are kind of these are much more, I guess, more of a hobby. Like streaming itself is more of a hobby. But it's also, I don't know, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love the community aspect of stream, being able to chat with people. All sorts of really cool people stop by. Anyone, you know, it's very neat. Streaming is great. The art community is great. Let's just paint some trees. Okay, now I think we can... I want to make sure that this feels like... kind of feels like it could be a river. Obviously, this is darker, I think. Yeah, this is darker than the background. So, like, this stuff is lighter. Yeah, I'm using this super textured brush. It's going to make my paintings look a little fuzzy. That's been, like, just a thing that this brush does, because it's hard to get those super hard edges. But I think in this stage, that's okay. I don't mind too much. Okay, let's start jumping in. I want to figure out what I want to do for the river. Or this little, whatever you want to call it. Let's start by making some, I don't know, there's some like cool teals and greens in here. It's not literally this color, but like, I don't know. Seems fun. Maybe a very gray color. Something like that, maybe. And then maybe we get that light. The light from the sky can be a bit more teal like this, so we get these little highlights in here. Very, very different colors that I'm doing here. But I think this will be nice. Should be nice. And then the green, this brighter color here. I want to make some shapy choices. Kind of hard to see, but I'll zoom in. But yeah, entity, hopefully that answered the question. I think here I want to make some... but I guess what I'm doing right now is just much more just study. This is just studying, kind of. Studying, practicing, having fun. I don't typically do a lot of painting directly from photos like this. And so this is a little bit of, like, practice in a way. Mostly what I do is closer to, like, concept art or illustration and or, depending on what I'm doing. But typically I just kind of make things up, make things up on my, my own paintings for my own self. And I design them, and then I sometimes I'll render them, sometimes not. But that's mostly what I do. But what I'm doing now is not that. The last two streams, so I've been working on this other illustration that I just started 2 streams ago, and like an interior, I wanted to do some clutter, and so I was trying to do like a cluttered interior, and so I was painting on this for the last couple of days, 2 days anyway. So I guess about 6-ish hours probably went into this. Maybe more, maybe 8. But it's hard to know. It's hard to time stuff on stream because you're chatting and rambling half the time. So it's not real, like, one-to-one time painted is times, So it's not a very... It's hard to even say how long you've spent on a painting. But yeah, this is fun. It's not finished. There's some weird stuff. Like, I don't know about what's going on with that wrench there. There's some weird scale stuff. But yeah, it's been fun. I probably will work on it more, but not today, probably. Last stream was 2/3 ramble, to be honest. Yeah, most streams are about 2/3 ramble. It makes it really hard when people are like, how long did you spend on that? And you're like, I don't know. Like, technically, I was sitting at my desk with it open for, 8 hours? But that doesn't really count when I'm not even painting on it half the time. And when I am painting on it, I might not be really actively thinking about it. So, like, how do you judge that? Anyway, let's do some greenery. Let's put in green. Do I want to do it more hard-edged? Or do I want to do not hard-edged? I don't know. I'm going to make a new layer for that, though. I feel like we'll start with the cool greens. To be honest, all part of the process. I mean, if I'm not on stream, it's not. If I'm not on stream, the ramble is not part of the process. So it's kind of... Is that fair? Okay, we'll go like this. I think here I'm just going to use the texture of the brush and just block it in. Come for the art, stay for the ramble. Exactly. Wait, are you saying you're new here and you just said come for the art, stay for the ramble? I mean, I guess that's a thing in other people's streams too. But that's very much the motto of, I guess, live streaming in general. Come for the art, stay for the ramble. That is... Yeah, that's the motto of stream. That was your cat, sorry? Oh, well, okay, gotcha. Your cat's making... it's not, that's just you losing it if you're rambling to yourself. Oh, true, me losing the process? Yeah, most of streaming is losing the process, if that's what you mean. But that's okay. I feel like a lot of times it also, like, the process is kind of a misnomer, right? Like, it's multiple processes, lots of different ways of working. I'm constantly experimenting with different ways of working. Like right now, right? Starting with the brown or the red. Like, I don't always do that. Some darker shapes here. These are like the... You said if I'm not on stream, then it's not part of the process. Wait, what? Which, if you're not streaming and rambling on your own, that's a bit cray. You said if I'm not on if not on stream then no, sorry, I meant like no, wait, what? Is that I don't think that's I'm not quite sure what I said and I'm not sure what you're saying I said. I don't know if that's right though. That doesn't sound right to me. No, I guess I mean like when I'm stopping to like ramble or go on a tangent, I feel like that's not like if someone outside of stream, right? Let's say I met someone in real life and they're like, so what do you do? And I tried to explain to them that, oh, I'm an illustrator or I'm a concept artist or whatever, right? And they're like, oh, so what's the process like, right? If they were to ask that question, I wouldn't be like, well, I doodle and then I get distracted for an hour and then I do 5 more minutes of doodling followed by another hour of distract. Like I wouldn't say that because that isn't really part of the process. Like the distractions, I don't really count that as painting time, right? Because it's streaming time. Like streaming and arting don't have to be the same. They just in these 4 hours they are. Some rambles do lead to ideas, exactly, and so it's tricky. It's tricky to untease all that. Yeah, it's part of streaming. Streaming is definitely do things and ramble in between, right? That's for sure part of the streaming process. But sometimes it's relevant to the art process, sometimes it's not. And it certainly isn't required for it. In fact, I would argue you probably get better art done not doing that. But that's not my goal. Isn't just to make good art, right? That's in some ways my goal is to stream. So yeah, that's kind of what I meant. Like it's not. I don't really think of it as the art process. And also, again, that process changes depending on what I'm painting. Yeah, it's always different. Let's add some brighter. Let's add those bright lights here, or those bright trees. You know what? I'm gonna try something. Speaking of process, this is where I'm gonna make these hard edges just on one side. I guess technically I made them on both sides, but that's not important because the other side is gonna be softer and darker and grayer. There, like that. But I just wanted that one edge nice and hard edged. And then we'll add some of these sticks and stuff back here. Some stuff like this. Again, not trying to copy it exactly, because it's more about the vibe. Some nice underpainting. This one can be... I actually really like the colors in this foreground tree here. I think that's super cool. And I'm almost not sure how I would approach that. The foreground tree seems peeled or chopped up. Yeah, it is super interesting. It's really interesting colors too. It has like these yellows and these like very like milky yellow colors, which is interesting. So I'm kind of just trying to emulate that a little bit. Maybe we'll get some of these like deep reds in here. I don't know if they're really in there though, but maybe something like that. I mean, it kind of works. It has that feeling a little bit. I mean, that red isn't actually in that image, but yeah, something like that maybe. And then, of course, this ground plane is very chopped up. They're not chopped up. It has a lot of textury, bright stuff to it. Also, we can't really see it. But yeah, I like this weird thing that I did with the water. At least I think I like it. Like maybe we can go a little bit more green from like the reflections in here. There's some of those plants, those trees, leaves hanging down. I don't know if I'll put a lot of them, but maybe a couple. Some stuff hanging down here. Just trying to soften some of these colors, bring some of that light in here. Maybe some of that like yellowy color, a little bit more yellow. Because there's kind of like a light, right? There's like a bright light. There's even some like, if you look over here on the side, it's kind of hard to see, but there's even some very, very bright, almost like neon colors. I'm not going to paint them on the edge of the painting. I think that's kind of weird. But I can bring some of those colors in here and do like a, almost like a dappled light thing. You know, bring some of those colors in here. Some of these trees. There should be like sticks and twigs and just stuff hanging down. There's lots of shapes. I'm gonna try to put that stuff as like big blobs. I don't want to like hand paint it all, if that makes sense. I just want there to be like the feeling of that stuff in the texture. There is a lot of like twigs and stuff hanging down through here in the water. I don't know if I like the colors here. Now, let's go back to the other image. This one, where we can see more of the path. Hello, peeps. Hope you're having a beautiful Saturday. Warkid Studios 24, how's it going? I am having a beautiful Saturday. It's a nice day. It's a good one. Just painting, having fun, doing some virtual plein air April, as some people call it, or plein air April, as other people call it. Yeah, it's fun. Also, this tree looks like it's too straight. Let's make it all crooked and interesting. And then I want to put in some of this green in here. Player Pearl, as I call it. Prayer Pearl? That sounds like... Player Pearl sounds like a religious thing. Like it's April where you pray. Prayer Pearl. Or something. I don't know. But yeah, fair enough. Oh, hi, Just Fiction. But yeah, I like it. I mean, I'm also not doing it all of... Oh god, no. I'm not doing it all in, April, so it's really just, you know, we could call it, Map Crunch Monday, but not on a Monday. I don't call it anything if I'm not participating. Fair enough. Or April where you play. Or that. I mean, I don't care what people call it. I like plein air Pearl. I think it's a fun way to say it. Thank you, Workid Studio, for this sub. Very much appreciated. Okay, I want to get some of this stuff. Yeah, that's very much appreciated. Thank you so much for that. Okay, I'm going to add some of these things just over the edge, right? I want to make this feel like these things are creating like a shadow, you know? Just a little bit. But yeah, thank you so much for the sub. I really, really appreciate it. That means a lot. There. These shadows. Now, are there those same shadows up here? Not really. Oh, something about shadow. So, shadows on water are so tricky. Because, like, part of you wants to paint this as a shadow, but it's not, right? It's a reflection. This is a shadow, but it's also not that strong, right? Like, it's almost as dark as the reflection. So, like, this technically would be in light, this is in shadow, and the shadow is almost as strong of a dark as the reflection. And so it's kind of a tricky thing because, like, shadows on water almost don't exist. I mean, they do exist, but, like, sometimes they're not very strong because the water is so reflective. You could have a shadow in the water that's reflecting the sky that would be brighter than a part in the light that's reflecting the dark, right? So, like, I mean, luckily we don't really have any of the bright... I mean, I guess this is still probably technically in shadow. A hype train started. It's weird that hype trains start on one sub. Thank you though for the sub, but that is I feel like I need to change that or turn that off. That's it makes it sound like it's some event or something. It's just a thing that starts randomly. But anyway, but yeah, no, it's very weird how because normally when you paint, right, there's a lot of like rules and axioms or whatever you want to call them, sort of little tips or tricks that people use to help simplify and comprehend complex subjects. And a lot of those things are things like, you know, keep your shadow colors separate from your light colors. Well, that kind of goes out the window when you're doing water, when you're painting shadows on water with reflections. Because it's far more about what it's reflecting, right? This is probably in shadow and it's reflecting the sky, so it's bright. This is most definitely not in shadow, and it's reflecting the dark of the underside of the trees, right? And we can tell it's in light because everything around it's in light, right? Nothing here is in shadow, and yet this water is still very dark, right? And then you move over here into the darkness where it is very clearly shadow, and then you still have these bright spots. So it just makes it kind of tricky. But I do think the shadows, especially if you're changing the color of things, the shadows are nice to know where they are so that you can still use them to block in or exaggerate them. Because, like, I could still put a shadow here and, like, frame the scene a little bit if I wanted. If I wanted to darken something. I'm not going to. Ooh, pick a color for a... Okay. What color would you like me to paint with? Magenta. All right. Do you have... also, hi, Angel Celeste. Hope you're doing well. Do you have a... I don't know what magenta is. I can guess. I'm so bad at color names. Give me a hex code for that if you want, or I can guess, and that can be a thing too. But yeah, okay, give me one. Yeah, no worries. If it's too much of a struggle, I can just pick a color that's close to what I think magenta is. Okay, I kind of like this. We could come in here and add all sorts of little things to show that the ground has foliage on it. All this little foliage. Little shapes and stuff. I should probably go in here too, like this. And just make sure that this stuff, it's clear that it's like crossing over to the other side. No, it's crossing over that boundary of like where the water is. There, I think this is a good one. I'm happy with this. I think this one I'm proud of. I mean, for how quick it went. Obviously, we didn't spend a lot of time, and, you know, we could zoom in and do the details, but I don't really... That's not really what I'm all about, you know? Fiction, I didn't ask you, but have you done any painting lately? I assume you have. Actually, I assume you've also streamed lately, but I don't know for sure, because I haven't seen you online, but you probably have been. For those who don't know, Just Fiction also streams, and you should go check them out, because they're great. Great at art, pretty chill vibes in their stream. Maybe not chill vibes, like heavy metal chill vibes. If heavy metal and chill can be in the same sentence, it's chill heavy metal. Like, it fits the vibe of the stream. You can just kind of hang out. It's nice. I don't know. I think metal can be chill. I don't know if that's the right word, but I think it can. I'm kind of just adding some darker splotches and smaller shapes. I'm also making my brush smaller, so it's just kind of giving the appearance of, like, hard edges. Or harder edges. Kind of just scribbling, giving some texture. Can I send a Pinterest link of color with picked with colors that you find pretty? Yeah, you can do that. That works. Yep. That works for me. I am not picky. Give me colors and I will paint with them. Okay, I think this works. I think also I should probably change some of the colors of the green. Like maybe the foreground greens are a little more vibrant. And then the background greens are a little less vibrant. Something like that. There. I changed some stuff in OBS settings for the recording of your stream videos, and it scuffed everything last night, so I had to cut stream short. Earlier today, I did a bunch of tech solving things and going on and offline 30 times to fix stuff. I think it's okay now. Oh no! So might stream later. Dang, well I hope everything's fixed. That sounds frustrating. Stream struggles are... I'm sure there's things that compare to it, but I can't think of any. It really is one of the most frustrating things. Yeah, it's stream struggles are frustrating. Like especially when you're live and like people are there and then stream dies and then you if you problem solve it, you come back and there's no one there because everybody assumes that your stream went offline, and it's just like... Also, then you annoy people because you're spamming notifications automatically every time your stream goes live, because it's like trying to do the things you told it to, but you didn't expect it to be struggling. And so it's just annoying for everybody. And it's like, I mean, maybe it's not annoying for viewers. I don't know. Most viewers understand, but it feels like it's annoying for everybody, and you don't want to annoy people as a streamer. I don't know. It's very frustrating for me. Like, I'm not typically someone... I mean, maybe that's not true. I guess I do get annoyed and frustrated at things, but I don't typically think of, especially if it's like an activity like art, where I'm doing it on my own, right? Because streaming isn't on your own. And that's, I think, what makes it frustrating. Whereas, like, normally when I'm doing art, it's like a chill vibe, and you're just, nothing can get to me, really. Like, even if my program crashed, who cares? It's just me. I'll just start it up and keep painting, But when I'm streaming, that's completely different. Okay. I think I like that one. Let's take a look at your Pinterest. Oh, I should probably do it off screen. Don't know what I'm loading into. Okay, what am I looking at? We can't find that idea. Try searching for one just like it. That didn't work. Why didn't that work? Show error equals true. I don't know why that's not working. Is it working for you guys? What did you try to link me? I'm wondering why it's not working. It's not working for you guys either? Okay. It sucked so bad, says Fiction. I was just trying to play Doom Dark Ages last night, and it was a slideshow. Oh no! Then switched to CSP, and it was still bad. Frustrating when I already still stress about pressing the go live button. Yeah, that's a thing, right? Like, you're basically on stage. I mean, yeah, you get over it eventually, kind of. Well, not really, kind of, sorta, but like, it still sucks when things go wrong when you're live. It's just, it's such an awful, stressful, annoying feeling. I'm very sorry that happened, but I feel for you. Flowers? Okay, yeah, it's not showing up. I wonder why. Are you in Discord? If you are, you can drop a screenshot of it or something. in like the reference channel or something. I don't know. Sorry, this is such a struggle to just pick some dang colors. it that doesn't need to be this difficult, but that's, you know, whatever. It's yeah. Hopefully it's not too much of a thing. I don't know how else you could do it. I mean, or any other link you can have. I don't know why the Pinterest link isn't working. Is it like a private board, maybe? Maybe it's like you're linking to a private board that's not made public. And so when you're trying to send me the link, it's needing me to have your login credentials, and that obviously isn't how it's supposed to work. So maybe you have to make it public first. I don't know. I don't know how Pinterest works, to be honest. I have Pinterest, but I don't really use it. Okay, while that's happening, let's go in MapCrunch again and look around for a new location. Ooh, this is beautiful. Just classic green valley, blue sky, green grass, mountains in the distance. This is gorgeous. This is the type of like countryside I would love living at. Like just often kind of in the middle of nowhere, in the sense that like it's not like there's a a supermarket right across the street, or like a Walmart, you know, like with all the trucks and stuff. Like, you know, it's just it's pretty remote. It's pretty in the middle of nowhere, but there's still like seemingly good infrastructure, you know? It's things don't feel run down and falling apart. Like it's rich farmland. No, I don't know. Maybe that's what I don't know what it is, but something about it does seem nice. Not farmland, but like it's still very much like countryside, you know? Like you have the dirt roads and the, you know, like going up off into little sides. As long, like, I would love living at a spot like this as long as you could order groceries and you had good internet. That way you didn't have to leave your house every couple days to go shopping or whatever. Ooh, I don't like that. This spot doesn't look fun to live in. New development, all these... No trees. I don't like that. Let's go back here. Posted. Okay, great. Lily, how's it going? Lily Skiridae. I don't know how to say her name. Skiridae? Skiridae. This is probably right. Okay, you said posted. Let's go take a look. Let's take a peek. Art. Photo reference. Oh, perfect. Ooh, these are neat. Okay. Let's take a look. So, this is the image. I like it. Very nice. So you like the pinkish colors. Because you kind of got like the whole rainbow going on, right? You kind of have like the oranges, the pinks, the purples, but a lot of grays. You got some greens and yellows. I mean, even some blue, cool, almost blue-gray feeling colors. You basically have the whole rainbow. But I am assuming you meant like... Is that the scientific name for a squirrel? Asks Casey. Hi, Casey. Skiridae? Maybe. Yeah, family of rodents the squirrel is from. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, the AE at the end definitely is like a scientific name, right? Like that tips me off, but I didn't know that. That's cool. Learn something new. That's awesome. The cute... Yeah, so cute with the orange reflecting off the pink flowers. Yeah, we could do something with those colors. Now, just be forewarned, when I do a thumbnail based on colors, I am not painting what's in the thumbnail. I am going to paint an environment with these colors. So I am just going to jump straight into, like, more or less those... Actually, you know what we can do? We can just do this. We will just start by color picking, like this. I'll just color pick a few just to have some things in the color palette. I mean, we're going to have a wide range. But if you were expecting me to paint this image, I am not. Oh. There. Little color palette. Casey says, I was just deep diving on rodents this week. I will have forgotten in a month. Nice. That's cool, though. Usually get asked, is that the Irish name? So it's refreshing to be asked where it's from correctly. Oh, that's cool. So yeah, I think today, just as a recap, we're gonna do some plein air painting, virtual plein air painting for Map Crunch. We already did a couple. I'm really proud of this one, actually. I'll show the scenes so far. So this is the original scene. I obviously changed the color. We made it very teal. We added some color to the water to make it very bluish. And then we also had this scene, which I exaggerated the hill here so that we can actually see it as a mountain. But then I tried to get some of this farmland around it, just sort of implied, which I thought was kind of fun. This one I'm not super proud of because I kind of went quick and I didn't spend too much time on it. But these are the two locations we've had so far. But now we're going to take a quick break from that and do a very quick, maybe not very quick, but we're going to do a thumbnail. Inspiring as always? No. Well, thanks for the kind words. Okay. Yeah, now we're just going to take a break from that, though, and paint some random scene. I don't know what we're going to paint. I'm going to add a little bit of darkness here. I do think what I want to do is... I mean, maybe what we can do is still use the flowers, and we can treat it as flowers. I'm just making shapes here. Trying to think how I want to approach this. I definitely want to keep that red, and I mean, we could do like a field of flowers. The only problem is I'm not sure I want to do... Oh gosh, what do I do? What do I do here? I'm definitely thinking like maybe a forest with some big old trees, but then the trees have like flowers and stuff at the base. Maybe that's what we do. So we can use some of these darker colors. Maybe even larger than this. Something like that. Just giant trees back here. And then we can have like some of that sun poke in. And then here, oops, we can have some green. Maybe it's like full of I was just watching a video on like some of the rainforests and like or the kind of rainforesty parts in like northwestern Washington. And some of the place, there's just so much moss growing on the trees. And it kind of, I mean, obviously I'm not sure about the flowers of these colors, but we can use some of these colors here. Hello, fellow humans! How's it going, Druffzilla? Hope you're doing well. And then we get some darker colors in here. I'm going to bring back in some of that orange. Some of that orange could be in here. So this is closer, for anyone who's new here, this is closer to what I normally do, is do a lot of made-up scenes. Yeah, basically, that. Ooh, I am liking these colors, though. This is nice. Maybe we go... Yeah, I'm liking these colors. We still need some of that orange, though, where that light hits these flowers. Because, like, these flowers are red, right? And then where they're kind of like this darker purpley color in the shadows. And then in the sun, we have that bright orange. And so I haven't put that in yet. Well, your body is deteriorating. Oh no, that doesn't sound good. That sounds quite bad, actually. I mean, I was gonna make a joke and like, aren't we all? But no. Say more. Yeah, I hope you're all right. Okay, but I like this. I like these shapes. Just some back pain? Gotcha. Okay. Old person. You're getting old. That's what's happening. We all are, though. No, I feel it, though. Not most days I don't. Most days I feel pretty great. But there are days where, like, I'll have a random pain, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, that shouldn't be aching. Okay, so here's this. Just some little shapes and colors. Oh, flamingo check, thanks. I was kind of slouching. Okay, so now let's add back in that orange. So if we go back to that image, right? This was the reference image for the colors. And I don't typically color pick directly from the image, but this is well, we'll go like this. And we'll delete that. Just to bring back some of these oranges. There. Make some little gradients right along in the warm side of the flowers. So like if this is like a localized warm spot, nearest to that warm spot is where I'm going to put the oranges. And then where the sun is, I'm going to actually crank up the brightness, but also the desaturation a little bit. Because typically the light from the sun, unless it's like in the evening, like golden hour type stuff, sunset vibes, the sun's actually much less saturated, right? You get like not white, but like more white, like whiter versions of things, right? So if you have like a green, you're gonna get like a whiter green, right? Or like a less saturated green. It'll also be warmer, right? It'll be like more yellow, but it'll be a desaturated nearing like that whiter color, right? So you get a lot of those colors, and typically in direct sunlight. Same if you have like a red thing in direct sunlight, you might get like a warmer, orangier, but you might also get like it'll be a bit more white oftentimes, right? You'll get like this kind of color. Now, obviously, this is an exception because this image is not direct sunlight, and if it is, it's definitely like sunset, right? This is not light that's being blasted midday, right? This is very clearly like a dim orange light, or at least in my eyes, this is very clearly a dim orange light. It doesn't feel like this is, this feels more like sunset. This doesn't feel like a, bright blue sky up ahead, sun beating down on this thing. That just isn't, that's not the vibe this sun's giving me. This is like orange sky vibes. So this probably is why it's so orange and it's not, washed out, because the light is a lot weaker. You don't have that super strong light. So, but I'm still going to put some of that strong light here because I think it looks cool. Just on the green. I don't know. Maybe that was too much there. Maybe we'll tone it back just a bit. And then I think for here, do we want to go like browns in the tree trunk maybe? Just a little bit. Yeah, also there's a shadow. What kind of flowers are those? I don't know what that sentence means, Drefzilla. I apologize. There's also a shadow, yes. There does seem to be a bit of a shadow on those flowers, which is what makes me think it is. Yeah, I mean, the shadows seem pretty angular, like on the side, so it does make me think it's a lower in the sky. The bright orange makes me think it's gonna be more sunset. So yeah, yes, there is a shadow. The shadow is everything that's like in this much darker color, darker grayish color. It's in fact it's very dark in some places, which again further increases my thought that it's sunset, because shadows in sunset are often, especially if the sky is like, the sky is getting darker basically, so that you don't typically have like bright blue shadows at sunset. They just get very dark. So this makes me think this is like a sunset photo, right? I could be wrong, but that would lead to things like the orange light instead of the whiter that you would see. However, I'm not replicating that, as you can see by me making a nice blue sky, and yeah. But I am adding some gray to these trees just to make it so they're not as green as we go up. This is something that I feel like I've only started doing recently. I used to just leave the trees dark and basically green. Can still go dark, but I like putting in some of that color. I think this is good. This is a good spot to stop. Maybe we add some darker, like a olivey color up in the sky. Like willow type things hanging down. Maybe in here there's some... I'm just trying to really roughly lock in some colors and values that kind of make this feel like we're sort of underneath the canopy. Maybe there's some light poking through here. Maybe some light on the trees. Anyway, I think this is a good thumbnail to call finished for now. It's a good color sketch redeem. Okay, now let's go back to our scheduled programming. No, let's go back to our it's not programming. Let's go back to our map crunch. I'm gonna blur some of this though. I think that's a good colors though. I like these colors. In fact, we could probably even, if we really wanted to, like bring in that red into the light and do like a, almost make it like a, I don't know, whatever this is. I mean, if we really wanted to experiment, we could even do something like this and then bring in like a, now this might just look stupid, but we could bring in like a glow dodge with an airbrush and get some like sun, I mean, again, kind of match the colors that we had in the image. Yeah, look, magical mist, some sun poking through stuff. Could do something like that. Just add some of that magic color. That magic color. That's a thing. Add that magic color. But yeah, something like that. Maybe I went a little heavy on the glow dodge there, especially down below. But something like that, just to pop those colors a little bit. I think that's not bad. That mountain. Yeah, the mountain wasn't... So the mountain was from a place that we saw. It's actually the default location of... And obviously, I exaggerated things a lot. I'm not super happy with it, to be honest. The mountain... Should probably have some stuff back here. I tried to exaggerate the... I tried to exaggerate this hill, because it's... If you're at the location and you look... There's this giant hill here. Whoops, you can't see that one. There's a giant hill, almost like a mountain. But of course, we were in like on a drone or at a drone. It's a drone photo. I think it was a drone. It could have been a helicopter, but I think it was a drone. And yeah, it just didn't. It didn't do it justice, I feel like, for how big this place felt. Like when you pan the camera, you could see just how big this was. So I wanted to change it a little bit and make it look more mountainy. But I also wanted to like get some of the you know, I like the patterns and the lines and the farmland, right? I thought that was neat. So I kind of wanted to sketch some of those in here. I don't know. I don't think this one turned out great, but it was fun. Is a panoramic view? Yeah, it was a panoramic view. Yep, it was panoramic. But if you zoomed way down or up, you couldn't see like the source, like a lot of times you can, which is what led me to think it was a drone and not like a helicopter. Typically, things like helicopters or a balloon, you can look and see that like, oh, it's a person in a balloon, right? But you couldn't see that. So I think it was a drone. But I could be wrong. I don't really have a lot to go on that. Okay, let's do another map crunch. I think we said maybe this spot, but we could try another location, see if we can get something really wacky. Ooh, that's very blue. Now, normally, why is it, what, look at these clouds. Is this real life? Where are we? And why is it so blue? Why is this is like a weird camera effect, right? Oh, wait, is this, are we at, no, this isn't night. What's happening? I mean, sun's behind the clouds, sure. Yeah, wispy clouds. So sun's behind the clouds, but why is it, the whole thing is just tinted very blue. Map your town. Visual social media content. Just a very weird camera. This is not like your classic Google Streetcar. This is some other weird thing. Google's competitor. I don't know. Maybe it's like anyone can drive this around. Maybe it's like a you can map your own town, and we'll outsource it. Yeah, it's like a Twilight filter something. It's very weird. I do like it though. Yeah, it looks like it's behind a tinted screen. Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't like it in the sense that I think we could just color correct it. Um, but this is the kind of thing when you're painting plein air that like if you had a normal photo, right? Like a non-tinted version, you could then tint it yourself to give it an effect, right? I think a lot of times one of the things we've talked about before is like what does pushing a painting mean? Like pushing the colors, pushing the values, pushing the perspective. And to me, this is like these colors are pushed to be very blue, right? There's just like a blue filter over it. But we could push them to be orange, right? We could brighten this whole thing up and make it sunny and orange and vibrant. And like maybe you just do that to the light colors, and then maybe you keep the shadows very blue. So like we could kind of do like if we were to paint this, we could sort of do our own color correction. But these colors do make me think like, especially down here, like this stuff. Normally I think this is pretty gray, but it kind of comes off as almost purple. And I think this is a good example where we could paint these as like almost purple. So there's definitely some cool stuff we could do here. I don't know if I want to paint this one. Let's take a gamble and go to a new one. But you can always go back. Very different location here. Where are we? I don't know where we are. Bagoso. I don't know where that is. Is this South Africa? I actually don't know. No, this doesn't. This is. I actually don't know. For all I know, this could be. I have no idea where this is. Let's Google. I don't know what Western region means. We're just gonna Google that straight up. Ghana. Okay. Bagoso is the capital town of the Prestea Huni Valley Municipal District in Western region of Ghana. Okay. Ghana it is. I wish it would give me the country. Why? It has all of this info, but it doesn't give you the country. Like, come on. Get it together, Map Crunch. Why do you have all of the info, but not you leave off like, you have street, you have town, you have region, and then they stop. Like, just give me the country. Maybe that's just the ignorant part of me. Maybe I should know just from all that this is Ghana because I should know what the western region is. But my bad geography self has no idea when I read that. Oh, well, that's a shame. I think they need some new tires. Stuff like this always makes me wonder, like, what is the story here? Did this person get a flat, they pulled over, and then they left, and then when they came back, their tires were stolen? Or, like, did they take their own tires off? Like, what's happening here? What led to this situation? I hope yeah, it's a an ambulance, or it looks like a medical vehicle. You hope they weren't transporting something. Something happened for sure. Yeah, like there's a story here, right? Like this is sketchy. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe my brain just goes to the worst situation, and maybe it's like not a big deal. Maybe it was stolen. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to jump to like that, but like or abandoned. Yeah, but like, yeah, I'm thinking like abandoned for some reason. I don't know. It's like, what are the situations that could lead to this? Like, even if you ran out of gas or your engine exploded and it broke, why would you ever just abandon it? Like, this just to me, it's so. I'm gonna paint this. This is too interesting. Okay, we're gonna. This is our image for the day. They were on the run. A band, a band, a band ambulance. It's a band. I can't even say that word. A bandbulance. Okay, here is the link for this if you guys are curious. A bandbulance. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna paint this. It's too interesting. Also, it's always fun to practice vehicles. Okay, I definitely want to make it clear that this thing is abandoned, run down, and has flats. So I'm going to start with the tires. Well, first I'm going to start with the ground plane. Maybe not. I don't know how I want to start this. Actually, I do know how I want to start this. I'm going to start with just a block-in. Start with some green. Actually, let's go very gray. Gray, brown. Okay, now I'm gonna do like I'm actually gonna do I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I keep waffling, but let's start like this. We'll start with some just a nice block in of the silhouette. I'm basically sketching that. Just trying to get some of these shapes kind of looking right. I probably should have started with the tires. Hmm. Just trying to do like big shapes. There are better ways to do this probably, but I think this works. You're doing fine. Yeah, no, I don't mind this. I like how this is working so far. I'm just kind of thinking there's probably ways that I could do this that are more, I don't know, just different ways that focus more on the things that I want to focus on. Like right now, the way that I'm doing it, the least accurate part is gonna be like the thing, like the tires and stuff, and in some ways I want that to be the most accurate. And like this form around the Are these going around it? Yeah, I think so. Very efficient blocking. It's not bad. Okay, let's go to a darker color just to start sketching now. Could probably also do I also think there's gonna be this need for the shadow under here. And making this shadow very, very clearly not in the same perspective as the vehicle, right? Actually, this could be a little bit more like a purple, dark red color. Or like an orange, because it has like that rusty look to it. I just want to make sure that this part looks like it's raised. Dust would be interesting to paint. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on with this tire here. This tire probably can go down this way. I'm trying to think. I don't know if I like the front shape here. It's a little small, but I think that's okay. Okay, let's do that. And now we can start sketching in some things like the windows. Can't wait until he starts painting the jungle background. The background's gonna be real simple. I will do it though. Definitely I will. But yeah, right now I'm just doing some quick block-ins for the windows, trying to get them kind of in perspective. A mixture of drawing and block-in. It's kind of what I'm doing. But yeah, I will do some very simple... Some simple block-in. Nothing crazy, though. Yeah, sort of love the background. It looks very right with the main subject. Yeah, it looks neat. Okay, so this part is going to be darker, I think, in the background here. Just a little bit darker. All this, like, grime and dirt. Um... And then this part is going to be a little brighter. So I'm going to go back over this with like a brighter, slightly yellower light. Much lighter, I guess, like this. Now, the nice thing about this is I can block this in and be sloppy with it, and it'll still work because it's like, this is very dirty. So there's like, it's bright, but underneath there's like this layer of dirt. So it doesn't actually matter if it's like good coverage of, you know, like if I get a bunch of random brushwork and stuff in here that kind of grimes it up. But there is still that like that brighter color underneath. I think I want to push this to be a little more yellow though. I think in reality this thing's kind of almost like a, maybe it's like a bluish. I don't know. I think this will work though. I don't know what color it actually is, but we'll go with this. I am painting a very low resolution, by the way, if anyone is curious of what's going on there. And then, of course, we get this red here in a moment. What else? Yeah, this definitely is not the right color, but that's okay. We'll go a little bit brighter on the bottom here too. Just going back over some of the stuff I did already. Just kind of... something like that. Let's get this red stripe in there, just to, because it should be in there. It's orange. Pale orange. Somehow gives me Jurassic Park vibes. It's interesting, isn't it? It's definitely interesting. It's a little concerning. I'm... It's definitely sketchy. There, something like that. Adding some, sorry, I was concentrating. Adding some just ground plane. I'm not going to go super crazy with it, but just a little bit to... is that looking right? Kinda. It's a little, this angle's a little weird on this stuff, I think. But I should probably focus in on this a little bit. Add some of this this dust and, you know, make this part look like it's very clearly not a wheel, but it's just, I mean, it's an axle. Just some parts here. There's obviously... something like that. And then under here, again, this is quite a bit darker. This is that tire. And then everything else is just kind of grayish and... a dinosaur? Ooh, add a dinosaur. That's fun. Maybe. Looking good, thanks. I'm glad. I like it. I think it's not too shabby. It's not the best thing ever, but, you know, I think for this kind of thing, I think for me it's reading okay so far. We're gonna add a little highlight here on the bottom just to like show that the tire is bunching out here. I don't know if this thing is relevant right here, just like this rock. It feels like it might be, though. I don't know. I'm gonna put that little rock there. You could even add a, like a dinosaur feet footprints water in. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I think for the background, what I'm gonna do, although I'm not quite ready to do that yet, because I actually want to imply that this is like an emergency vehicle. And so I want to, I mean, it kind of looks like one anyway. Yeah, it kind of looks like one anyway. But I want to add those blue, that blue. Yeah, the 3 blue symbols, exactly. I want to add the 3 blue symbols. Also, we don't have the red up in the back yet. Let's make it a little darker, a little more red, but still quite desaturated and gray. That's too dark. Something like that. Mm. There, that'll work. Mm. Yeah, something's not working with the proportions here, but that's okay. Okay, what are these symbols actually, what do they actually look like? Okay, I can't tell here, so let's go back to our source. It's just like an X with a line through it. And then I don't know what that middle part is. Somebody could probably look this up. Like, actually, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do it off screen though, just because I don't know what I'll see. Ghana medical or ambulance images. That's the symbol. So yeah, it's like a a cross with like a line down the middle, and it has like some zigzaggy. Let's find a high res image of this. Okay, it's not loading. Anyway, that's the symbol. So that works. So we are going to go back to this image now that I know what it looks like. And I can kind of... It's a staff with a snake. Gotcha. Well, I'm not gonna paint the snake. I'm really just looking for the... Like the X, the crisscross shape. With the vertical. And maybe we'll get to the white part in the middle, but the crisscross. Rod of Asclepius. Oh yeah, that is it. Yeah. Interesting. This is a cool symbol. There we go. Yeah, they even have the white outline on the sides, actually, now that I see it. Now, I don't want to actually have to like, oh, let me outline all that. That's too much, I think. Maybe here. I know this is... Because I'm already painting with pixels when I go like this. But I could do this just to add like a punch of something. Anyway, it's too small. Too small to do that. I mean, that's just not important. We don't need that level of detail here. I mean, it's not even in the photo that we're painting from. So now, I'm gonna add like a blue. Like a dark line here. This is where the van, oops, that's way too bold. This is the sliding part of the door with the handle. And of course we get the nice red lights, which don't really look red at all, but that's okay. They're basically gray. Okay, I think we're getting to the point where we can probably just jump straight into the other stuff in the image, or like just making up a background or something. You know, little things like these could be okay. Okay. So now let's do the background a little bit. Just give it something simple with some basic trees. I mean, really, it's going to be extremely simple. I'm basically going to just do a combination of painting the negative space, or some negative space, but then also leave, like, for example, like here, right? I might do, like, this is all negative, and then we'll do, like, a bit of, like, branches like this, right? So we do, like, negative, and then we add little shapes. And then here it's like gonna be the opposite, kind of. Well, maybe not. I don't exactly know what I want to do for the background right here. Just enough so we can tell what the environment is, you know? Maybe add some variation in the color. Especially back here in the foreground. Doesn't take much, I feel like, for that kind of thing. I don't know if I even want to add any of these branches up here. Because they're kind of, they almost are their own focal point. I don't think I want to do that. Anyway, I think that's not bad. That's a good background, I think, right there. We don't need anything more than that. Maybe enough to, like, get rid of this bold line that I made around the vehicle. Now, is it too tilted or something, or the angles? Also, this looks like this is on fire now. I don't know why. This did not look like it was on fire before to me, but now it looks like this scene is on fire. This other one that we painted. Um, there's some graphics and other things on here that we could add in. Like these things. Which might just make the image look a little fuzzy, to be honest. By fuzzy, I mean this brush that I'm using is not super hard edged, and so as I paint these small details, everything gets very muddied and fuzzy around the edges, and it can make it look pretty bad. I could be using a different brush, or a mixture of different brushes. But I'm making do with what I have. Do I want to do anything with like the foreground or making this stuff feel brighter and yellower, or adding like a light or a different color? Maybe we want to crank up the saturation a bit. Like, for example, do we want to bring in some vibrant greens in here? I don't know. We could experiment with like an overlay or something. That's another thing that I think is fun. Sometimes if you don't know what your options are, you could just go in here with like a overlay and just layer in a bright green. Or what if you made it a little more blue, because there's kind of like a blue-green color to this whole thing. This almost makes it feel like it's underwater. I don't know if I like that. But maybe you want some of that to poke through. Or maybe you want some of the orange in here to really show that it's orangey red. And so you want to come in here and just add little hints of orange and red. Something like that. I don't know. Because this green is not very green, admittedly. We could even come in here and add some darker browns to some of these trees or something. Like a grayish color. I mean, I know we start with like a reddish color anyway. To add some of that brown. Or maybe right around the edge here where the shadow is, we would do like a brown or something. I don't know. We could just play with colors. Lots of stuff we could do. Toothpaste, I mean, Toothpaste, how's it going? Thank you for the sub. But yeah, I think at this stage, when like after I've done my initial sketch and I've more or less made the colors pretty accurate, I feel like there's a lot of just like playing around because I don't know what the peak, like not the peak, what's the word? Like I don't know how far I can push it in one direction. And if I don't already know, then a lot of times it's just like, well, how do I figure it out? You know, it's like, well, play around. Just move stuff around, try things, you know, take some time and experiment. This happens a lot. I've been playing a game where I have to do this a lot because, like, there's... Gosh, I don't know if you guys care, but I've been playing a game called Teamfight Tactics, and there's a new set coming out, and a lot of the stuff, like, I mean, it's pretty like people figure things out, but there's not like an established meta right now, and so you have like a team on a board and they fight another team on a board, and there's a lot of that where like you do something and you're doing pretty good, but you're like, I don't know how much stronger I can make my board, and so there's just a lot of like. How far can I push it? What do I fiddle with? Do I swap units in, swap units? And it's very similar to painting when you're like you're pushing up against where you feel like the painting can be, and you're like, how much further can I push it? Can I make it better in any way? What if I just have sometimes it's just you requires fiddling, right? Like there isn't obviously getting a critique and looking at what other people are doing is always good too, but sometimes it's just a matter of like, okay, well, what if I make the colors more vibrant but just around the focal point, or what if I make the everything else less vibrant, and that way the focal point reads better. Like it's basically like hypothesizing and then experimenting, right? You're like, what if I do this and this for this reason? Nope, that didn't work. Maybe my reasoning was flawed, right? And it's kind of a fun. I feel like that to me is part of the fun of painting is like this like how do I push this in some direction? I don't even know which direction I want to push it in. And like maybe that's the difficult choice that you have to make. I don't know. I like that stuff, and it's something I feel like that's what I feel like I'm doing right now. Is like I'm not really sure where I want to go with it, and so I just kind of have to fiddle around and figure it out, make a choice, or just call it finished and move on, which I think is probably what I'm gonna do. But I do like little color notes when I see other people do it, so we can add little notes of color in here. I don't want to go too crazy with the color because yeah, I don't want to go too crazy with the color because one, it's supposed to be dusty and dirty, and I like the contrast. Yeah, I think that the values are reading pretty okay. Yeah, that definitely. I mean, if I make it black and white, it's basically. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the same, but it's pretty okay, right? Like I think it reads pretty well. I could probably punch the background contrast if I wanted to be more like the image, right? I could push this thing by doing some darker, darker silhouettes here and there to just really push that background. And that might be a choice, right? That's a choice I could make. Is maybe these darks in the background could be a little darker. And so maybe I do that. Maybe I take these just a smidge darker. And in fact, there's probably an easier way to do that. I could probably do it with like a multiply layer. That way I can kind of preserve the colors that I already have. I could probably just take something like this. Actually, we could even do this. We could take... Okay, this might be a bad idea. Because my selection tool is terrible. Or my selection skills are terrible, I should say. Oh, not that. trying to just trim off these shapes here. Just anywhere. Oops. There. Sorry, guys, you have to leave for today. I really enjoyed drawing along. Have a good one. Take care. Thanks for popping in. Okay, so now I am going to make a new layer so I don't completely destroy everything. I'm going to take an airbrush. I'm going to color pick the same color that I have here and do a multiply. And I'm just going to brush in like a vignette kind of. A bit of a vignette. Not even a vignette. The vignette's more like around the edges. But just really just pushing it in a little bit. Oops. Now because I'm using an airbrush here, it could very well get too smudgy. Now the problem with what I just did, right, where I took this and made it a lot darker, is that can make it feel like there's more depth to the forest, and maybe I don't want that. Like maybe I want the card to feel like it's just kind of sitting there. So maybe I want to be really careful there. But I think that's good. I'm happy with that. And of course I can make a new layer and go back in and fiddle with some of these, you know, add some of these branches here if I want. There are lots of these little sticks and stuff back here, which I could add. I don't know. Actually, maybe I will. I think that adds character to the environment, you know, having all these little reddish branches and twigs sticking up. That way you can see how dense it is. There, just blocking that. There, I think that's good. That's a nice little virtual plein air painting. And again, if you guys want the link, let me know. I've posted it once already, but I can drop a link there to the exact location. Some cool stuff around. Actually, I will drop a link. There you go. And thank you for the follow. So yeah, this was the location we were at. There's like this old ambulance abandoned on the side of the road. Kind of sad, to be honest. It feels sad. I don't know. Maybe it's not sad, but it looks like it's been there a while. Let's go up the street. Maybe there's more abandoned vehicles. Ooh, there are. Lots of abandoned vehicles. Are we at just like a junkyard? Where are we? No, this doesn't feel... These are all like the same. They all look the same though. I wonder why. Why are there so many cars on the side of the road that look like they... No, some of these look like they're in working condition, right? Like these look like they're all working. But a lot of them are being worked on because they have their hood popped. This definitely looks like there's... like... people whose vehicles are dying take their cars here. And I am curious, though. Can we go down, like, another road? Like an offshoot, like this one? No. Are there more cars abandoned down here? What about this car? Is that vehicle abandoned as well? Nope. That one looks like it's in good working condition. Just chilling there. And, like, I don't get the sense that, like, these people have their windows open, right? Wait, is that a goat in the car? Wait, what? Oh, in this car? Where? Up here? Or somewhere else? Or back? I assume you mean back? Did we pass a car with a goat in it? On the driving car on the roof? A goat. Multiple goats on top of the car. What do you mean? Where? Where am I looking? The driving car. The car that we're in? Oh, here. Yeah. Oh, there are goats. Look at that. Yeah, there are goats on the car. Interesting. That do be goats. That is a choice. Wait, how did they get them up there? Man, the stuff you see. So, also, is that Ronaldo? uh, how, wait, okay, so goats are just chilling as they're driving down the street? That is wild. Man, you know what's funny though? This is probably normal. Like, I bet you these people, they're driving by like, oh, there's old Billy with his goats out driving again. Like, I don't know. I feel like this, like the amount of stuff we've seen even just in this short little area makes me feel like this stuff is not unusual to like, oh, an ambulance just abandoned on the side of the road? No big deal. You know, we've got, oh, another scrap, is this a scrapyard? Lots of abandoned cars. Just tons of them. I mean, I assume they're abandoned because they don't have wheels on. Like, it, just tons and tons of abandoned cars. I feel like we've seen way more cars than people here. Which, I don't know, is that normal? Maybe that's normal. I mean, we must be in, like, the, I don't know, automotive repair district. Is that a thing? Because, like, these are not all in working order. Like, doors are open. Things are just... I'm very curious what's happening here. This can't be, like, just the norm, right? Just everybody... This feels like, in some ways, like, Like, okay, this is normal, right? This feels normal. These are probably... Actually, a flat tire there, randomly. Like, are people going in, like, breaking the tires? Or, like, stabbing them? Like, why does everybody have flats? This dude has a flat. These cars all have flat tires. Every single one of... Well, maybe not everyone. Like, that feels weird to me. It almost feels like post-apocalyptic, you know? Where, like, all the tech at one point worked, but then it's all falling apart. I mean, here we obviously have cars that are all in working order. And apparently people just leaving their doors open everywhere. That seems to be a thing I've seen a lot of. I bet they use the tires until they blow and then abandon the car. Maybe the economy is such that, like, you know, printers, how the printers are cheap but the ink is expensive? Maybe the cars are cheap but the tires are expensive. So there's just tons of cars but no tires to replace them because you're not buying the car for the car, you're buying it for the tires. I'm obviously making that up, but I'm just trying to understand, make up an explanation for why it just feels unusual. I mean, this spot looks normal, right? Most of the cars are in working order. But that is true. If you look at the roads, right, they're not paved. So you probably do have a lot of wear and tear on vehicles. Like, the road infrastructure, right, is just not there. Like, it's obviously very rough. I'm sure there's lots of potholes and things that have to be fixed and manually fixed, and like rocks and things are gonna be kicked in the road. Like, you're gonna it definitely is not gonna be good on your vehicle, right? Long term. So I kind of understand the wear and tear and the tires. I guess that makes sense. Anyway, uh We are done with this location. We've already painted we've already painted stuff from it. We've done this. Uh-oh, I'm lagging a little bit. Hopefully my stream doesn't die. I think Map Crunch is hard for my computer. Let's do that. Let's save. All right. Let's do another one. We'll do one more. We'll go. I do like this. Ooh, I like this tree sticking out of the road here. That's definitely something that I'm getting. I feel like I'm getting better at this skill of just like finding a thing and being like, oh, this is interesting. I like this overhang here with these roots coming down, right? I like this rocky, the way the ground has sort of held itself together with all the roots, and then it overhangs the rocky soil. So like the soil has fallen down and probably eroded away, but the top part is held together with all the it's held together with the roots. Like that's a cool effect, right? Like that's something that I could use. I'm gonna paint this. This is something that you could use in your environments, right? Like this sort of effect of the roots in the. Here, I'll show you. It's almost gonna be like a material study. Do you find the low res of Map Crunch beneficial? No, not particularly. I just like the randomized feature and it... Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think about it, to be honest. Is it super low res? I mean, I guess it's pretty low res. It just depends on where the image is. Some of the images, because there's different cameras. I mean, same with Google Earth, right? On Google Street View, you have a lot of... I mean, it just depends on where the camera location is, right? Which year it was taken, when it was taken, which, you know, depending on the country, different country has different coverages and different cameras and different vehicles. Like, I actually think these are pretty good photos. I mean, you can't zoom in forever, but like at this resolution, if you zoom out, they're pretty dang clear. I don't know. Are they super low res? They feel pretty good to me. Obviously, if you zoom in too far, they aren't. But for a panorama camera, seems pretty good to me. Obviously, if this was like one person with a nice camera taking a photo of this scene, yeah, it'd be higher res because they'd be taking it with an actual camera and not like a panorama thing, you know? Like you're never going to get as high resolution in a panorama with hundreds of thousands of miles or kilometers of coverage, right? Like it doesn't make sense to have it that high resolution for everything. I don't know if it's possible, but this is not bad. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this image here. And this is going to be more of like a material study, so it's not going to be painting the exact location. But I'm going to use this and kind of just what I talked through. Like, it could be roots, it could be grass hanging down. Well, I think it's both. What do you mean? You mean on this stuff? This could be roots, it could be grass? I mean, we can see what it is. We can see up here, whoops. We can see the roots very clearly underneath. And then on top, there's grass and foliage hanging over. So it's both, right? Like you have definitely some roots. Definitely some grass and brush. Lots of rocks. You know, all the things hanging down here. And then so when we look back here and we can't see it as far, this is pretty obvious both. I don't know. I like it. I think it's cool. It's kind of a neat little effect. You can see it right away though. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So this one is going to be more of like a... Yeah, like a... I don't know what you call it. Maybe a study of sorts. Also, how do I flip images? How do you flip one of these images? I know we've talked about this before. Whatever, I don't need it to be flipped. It makes it easier. I don't know why. I want to paint the texture the other way. This'll work. So yeah, for this... How do I want to approach this? Do I do just like a ball, like a sphere of texture, or do I paint like location? Because I think... So what do I actually want to capture? I think the rocky soil down below. Okay. So we'll do like a rocky... But you know, maybe it helps to not be able to zoom all the way in when you want to focus on the landscape. I mean, I think it does a little bit. Like if you... Yeah, because I mean, it does help you focus on shapes and patterns. And instead of trying to paint the objects, you're now painting the big forms, right? I mean, this is something that happens with people. I mean, you see this a lot when people paint like portraits, right? They try to paint all the hair, and it's like they're not even focused on the form. But if you can't see the hair, if it's just a big ball and some of it shiny on one side and not shiny on the other, then that's all you paint because that's all you can see. And turns out that's all you really need. Yeah, I mean that's something that's always true with environments. Is like you gotta focus on the big stuff more than the small stuff. You can't paint every leaf. I mean, it is nice to know what the thing is so that you can, like, because sometimes there's anomalies, right? Sometimes you find shapes that are just a little unusual, and you don't know that they're unusual necessarily unless you know what it is you're looking at. Because, like, sometimes there's awkward tangents or confusion, and not every, grass bank is gonna look the same, and so sometimes you just find one that's gonna be a little bit less clear, right? Maybe it's the lighting, whatever. But if you understand the general shapes and forms, like, I like the idea that there's all these rocks and stuff down here, but you might go a few, feet up the road and there aren't that many rocks up there, right? And so maybe you find a spot that but so if you understand what, like this spot, I don't know what it is. Let's go back. Right? Like this spot has a lot more rocks, and that's pretty cool, right? But it doesn't have as much overhanging, right? Because turns out that the rocks probably haven't eroded away or fallen down, and so you don't quite get the same overhanging effect that you do where it was just dirt, right? Where it was just dirt, it's kind of fallen away. This overhang is really, really apparent. And I think that's cool. I don't know if the exact geological reason. I assume it's just, the dirt is being held, the topsoil is being held together by all the roots. And then underneath, where it's more just the soil is looser, it falls away. Where it's really, really rocky here, it seems to stick together a little better anyway, because the rocks probably hold it in place. And so there's a lot, I feel like there's a lot to just basically tell yourself a story, which I actually, there was a geology podcast I was listening to, and they were kind of going on this same topic, which is like, a lot of times, like, you don't know when you look at an environment, right? Obviously you can do tests and you can prove your story wrong or correct, right? You can either support it by finding evidence that seems to confirm it, or it'll debunk it, right? But like a lot of it is just that. It's you're kind of telling yourself stories like, oh, I bet a river came through this valley at some point and washed it away, and it was probably this other river up there, and so I bet if we do soil samples, we'll find the stuff that was in the river down in this valley. And maybe it's like that and maybe it's not. But I think in art, sometimes it doesn't even matter if the story turns out to be correct. It's just a matter of having that sort of like, that logic of like, okay, when there's a bunch of rocks, I'm going to make the topsoil stick together a little more. And when there isn't, and it's all, dirt, I'm going to make it sort of slough down and erode more. And it's like, okay, let's do that. And then you have this logic for like when you're making your own environment, how do you handle that stuff? Which I think is cool. And so maybe I want to put both in here. I'm going to put some rocky structures. I think some nice green top parts. I'm trying to think how I want to do this. Maybe like... on one hand, I kind of want to make up the environment because this environment doesn't have all the parts in one image visible. But I actually do like... I do like this. And I think in a complex image like this, I don't need to paint everything. But I think what I will do is start with a rocky formation like this. Just sketching in some top of the grasses. The rocks can come in here. Maybe we do some shapes. I don't know. I'm not really sure what I want to do with this, to be honest. I just think it's cool. So this is gonna be these rocky parts, I think. Maybe we put some of that darker green back here. And then over here maybe we do some of that. I don't like the shapes of this though. Ooh, I know. Maybe we do this. Maybe we do dark in the foreground up here to do like a... Actually, you know what? Let's try something. I'm gonna start like I would start any other painting. Not any other painting, but lots of other paintings. If I'm just making it up by myself, right? So maybe I do like a... something like this. So this is gonna be one layer, and then we'll have another outcropping thingy like this. And then maybe we have another one over here. And so each time it's getting closer to the front, right? So this is the foreground. This is the midground. This is kind of the background. Right? And then it kind of goes off into the whatever, into the distance. So what I'm going to do is each one of these is going to be like a... So like the top of this, right? This could be the hanging down stuff. So we get these plants up here. Right? And then we have these deep shadows underneath. And so we have all these roots hanging down. Just random roots. And then this is because it's going to be the rocky stuff. We'll put like... maybe like that. The rocks. We'll do some of that dirt and rocks. So we'll use like this as the reference. Right? I don't know if this is a good way of doing it or not, but here we go. We'll just put some stuff there. I think the perspective's kind of goofy on this, to be honest. And maybe there's some stuff down here. Some rocks. Maybe there's all the little shapes of like the pebbles and stuff. I don't know. Just the white shapes down there. Maybe get like that blue or gray under here just a bit. Maybe. And then some more rocks in here. I don't know. I'm just trying to sketch something in as a base so that my brain can comprehend what I'm looking at. And then probably more darkness over here too. With lots of these little hanging down vines underneath as this stuff goes over. Probably even lighter, especially in like the sun up here. We'll go even brighter up here. Just more hanging down plants and all this little, it's almost like a little hat there. I think something like that. But I am trying to make this look like dirt, right? Dirt and soil, not just rocks underneath. What else do we have here? Yeah, I guess little plants hanging down as well. But also lots of roots. And they're a little more dangly. And then here we have, again, the soil. So this is where the sun starts hitting again. We have some of this brighter stuff. And more rocks down below, because there are more rocks lower that we get. And of course we have some greenery down here too. Okay, just some random stuff. So I think that's a good foreground. And then the midground is going to be kind of the same, I think. But it's going to be less... It's going to be more rocky, right? I'm going to do more like this. This is kind of my study where like... We're getting more of this stuff. So more boulders, more rocks. And I think this is going to help me... And then we can show some of these rocks like just kind of piled up here. Something like that could be useful. So yeah, we still have some of these, but there's not as much like erosion happening, right? So I want to show that these rocks are sort of supporting the structures or supporting the underlying grass. So they're kind of, the grass is like sitting on top of the rocks instead of hanging over. Carve out some shapes, play with these shapes a bit. So I think that's already turning out to be okay. I'm losing some depth here with atmosphere and stuff. It's not looking good, but that's okay. Also, it probably doesn't help that we have some weird... What's going on with the sky? We'll just make it brighter. Something like this. And then we can wash it out a little bit like that. Does that look good? Kinda? No trees? We could. Oh yeah, we could probably do some trees, especially back here. That's true. The trees and stuff are pretty useful, especially when they're... Well, the tree would have been nice here, right? Because this is like... It's growing out, and then there's like the roots, kinda. Here, though, because it's so much rockier, right? I don't think the trees are growing as much here. So maybe that's a difference. Maybe we put some trees back here, too, just like far away. But not as much right here, because it's more rocky. But yeah, definitely I should have put them up here. Maybe I should have reversed these, right? That way we can have more real estate for the trees in the image. If I want it to be kind of accurate. But yeah, that's yeah, I didn't even think about that. That was silly of me. Little bits of greenery up here. Little tufts of green. It's actually surprisingly vibrant, so maybe we can even brighten it up a bit. Make it more lime green or something. I know green isn't typically lime green, but we do have little tufts here and there that are a little brighter. I'm kind of just making little blobs. It's very, very light. We do have some dark spots down here, though, that get very... They do get very dark down in the crevices of the rocks where the shadows are. But it's not... I feel like it's different than the other spot, right? This foreground area, it's dark because it's just like an overhang of like where the light just isn't reaching. These are just shadows being cast by the rocks, I feel like. And so you have... They feel more blue. Again, I don't know how these two things fit together. I'm just kind of making it up, but it sort of works. Kind of, sort of. Not the best composition, but again, sort of just a study in a way. Helps me understand a little bit of what I'm looking at. I mean, this is kind of also like a... Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on with the land formation here, to be honest. I didn't do that. I didn't plan that very well. But I like the colors, and I like the some of the stuff that I did here. Like, I can't tell if this stuff is farther behind, like, where is this, right, in relation to the other thing? You know, is this going to be far away or not? Like, I don't know what's going on here. I mean, that actually isn't terrible. It's a little bit more atmosphere. This makes it look like it's foggy. Kind of fun though. I don't know. I'm not sure how... This one is one of those things where I don't know if I'll even know what it is when I look at it later. Sometimes I have that problem where I get so tunnel visioned on like certain things and because I know what I'm looking at. But I feel like I've already learned stuff. Different ways of like, oh, more rocky, maybe less trees. Also, less overhang. Less rocky, more overhang. Potentially more trees. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like it. It's neat. It gives me stuff to think about. And that's, I think, kind of the whole point of these is that you sort of... Yeah, you learn to distill the information by either talking through it or working through it, and... I think it's a fun way to work. Okay, we can at least do another, for sure, anyway. Another map crunch. Let's go. Alright, we find ourselves in Jerusalem. Some of the architecture is pretty neat. I don't know if I want to do a city, though. I mean, we haven't really done a city today. I don't know if I have it in me. I'm going to hit randomize again. Ooh, okay, this is a city, but let's be real. This is way cooler. Where are we? I have no idea, but I like it. Hold on. Let me Google this place. I wish it would give me the name, but... I mean, it gives me the name, but it doesn't give me the... Greece! Okay, we're in Greece. Well, that's pretty cool. I like the... Also, those Okay, I could have told you this was grease if I would have just opened my dang eyes. This is obviously, this is as grease as it gets. Uh, I feel like this is cool though. I like these bright colors that this, I don't know, it's very neat. It is pretty. Okay, I don't like the shape of that tree. That old tree there. The shape of the tree is, it's just so straight and chunky and weird looking. I'll be honest. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's, I mean, I like that there's a tree here. The tree is nice, but it's just a funny shape. It looks like the tree that you drew when you were 6. Does it not? Like this, that's the tree I drew when I was 6. I mean, obviously not as realistic, but like it's just like a straight trunk, a little like the thickness doesn't change at all. In fact, it might even get wider. Yeah, it's not very elegant, exactly. I mean, it has charm, right? I think there's something charming about a tree like that in the right context, but it like you can see though that they trimmed it, right? There's been like branches cut off and like this tree at one point was much bigger. Or it could have been, I think. I think they've kept trimming it and this is like the nub and it's kind of regrown. That's my hunch. I don't think this is the full form of the tree. My hunch is these trees are not this form. I think this is like a tree that's been more or less chopped down and it's sort of like, you know, trees find a way. Life finds a way. And I think this tree has sort of survived. I don't think that's like what these trees would look like. We can look for maybe another tree. I don't know if this is the same type of tree. These trees already have much more form to them, right? Here's another funny looking tree. This whole place is gorgeous. Okay, let's go back up there. Where that alley was. The alley was pretty cool. Although I will say some of this stuff's nice, especially where we have these nice light and shadow. But also, here's another thing that I just thought of, which I kind of have, you know, it's more, I'm going to mention it. See how down here we have like this really nice light and shadow information? Like we can see what the light looks like on these rocks, and then we can see what they look like in the shadow. But when we were up here, so for example, maybe I'll take a screenshot of this because I think it's useful. But it's not very elegant, not very beautiful. Put it there. Okay, whoop, I did not mean to do that. Let's go back. Okay, back up the hill. We're going back to where we just were. Actually, there's... Yeah, so like up here, I feel like we lose a lot of that... Where were we? Okay, I'm lost. Where did we come from? Were we more up the hill? No, we didn't come this way. I think we came from up here. Yeah, I think we came from this way. That church building, the other side. The other side of this? That alley. I don't see an alley. The one we're in? Is this where we started? I don't even remember. Maybe up a little more. I don't know where we... I'm so bad. My sense of direction is awful. 5 meters back. We can't go in there. Oh, maybe we can. Oh, and here? Wait, where did we go? Oh, here we are. Oh, we were in there. Like, this spot. I think this is close. Now I'm just confused. Now we're just wandering around Greece. Ooh, this spot's beautiful. I think this is... no, this isn't the same spot, is it? But this is starting to let these rocks look similar. No, but this is nice. It is nice. Uh-oh, where did we... how did we do this? What's happening? Where did we go? We just popped out somewhere. Okay, we definitely weren't here. It's okay. Ooh, look at these old rocks. But anyway, what I was saying before we got into some weird ghetto alley, with the rocks, is sometimes you stumble across a place like this where maybe the spot you want to paint, like this, or for example, is all like it's all in shadow. And so you can use things like this where it has that lighting information to like create your own shadows and amp up the colors and stuff. I feel like they're... that's the tree. But I couldn't go there. I don't see it. That's okay. My sense of direction's too bad. I like this. This is a cute spot. I like that. That's nice. We're gonna paint this. Maybe we can get a little closer. Oh, I kind of remember this. We came from here? Okay. Yeah, I like this. This is nice. We're gonna paint this thing right here. Also, this is a nice little, I like the lighting here. Alright, so are you looking for light and shadow? I don't know. I'm looking for things that just look nice. I mean, this is certainly nice light and shadow. But no, it wasn't specifically. Like, if I found something cool that I wanted to paint, I could have painted it, you know, I could have made light and shadow. But there's definitely nice light and shadow here. And I'm always interested in like the warm colored materials. A lot of times when I paint stuff, it's easy to block in with very dark materials, like dark trees or dirt, right? And then anything there you like, so I like, anytime I find like bright stone, it is nice to be able to paint bright stone. That's cool light on the arc. On the arc. Arch? Art? Where? Where? Oh, this? Is that light? Or I can't tell if this is the light. Actually, this is pretty cool. Hold on. That's kind of a neat thing. Arch. I don't see an arch. This is an arch. This is kind of cool. I'll be honest though, this building is ugly. This random thing here. But this is cool. Like, I don't know what this is. This big round thing. I think it's a stairway going up. It does not vibe with the rest of the building. The rest of the building has this really beautiful stone and like these, like, just everything is gorgeous about it. And then you get here, it's just this ugly concrete stairwell. Yeah, it's just not beautiful, you know? But this is cool. The lighting's neat. I think this is cooler though. Okay, we're gonna paint this. I've decided. But I might make some adjustments. Artistic liberties. Is stairwell a word? Stairwell? I think so. Stairwell. Yeah, that's a word, right? It is now. I've decided Right this instant, that's a word. Pretty sure it's a word. Okay, I am going to sketch this. I think it's nice. But first, I'm going to go to this and skip a few seconds forward in the song because that song is so dang loud. Okay, so for this one, definitely gonna go with a bright red underpainting. So yeah, we're gonna do some red outlines here, some nice orangey red colors. That way because that's kind of... Do I actually want to paint the same proportions though here? I mean, yeah, we can do mostly the same proportions. Won't hurt anybody. We can always crop it or change it later. Something like that as the block in for this side. And then maybe even slightly smaller. I don't know. And then we can go like a brighter orange or something. None of this color is going to stay, by the way. But I'm kind of using it as like the light fall off or the bounce light that's kind of making its way into these forms. So this bright spot here, obviously I'm going to add like a bright, like a super bright white or yellow on it. But you can see how when I do that, there's going to be this texture poking through, and that's kind of what I'm going to use it for. So I'm okay with that orange sitting here. And then again, for this, we'll go a darker color here. Got this little doorway here. This is a nice little stairwell. This is a stairway. This is a stairway. I don't know. I think stairwell's a word. Now I'm second guessing myself. I have no idea if that's a word. It feels like it's a word. And then down here, we have a bunch of plants. And then here, we have this. Just trying to sketch in that warmth. I was confused when you said stairway. Oh, gotcha. Stairwell. I don't know which... Yeah, I don't know what's... Aren't both words? I feel like both are words. Stairway? Yeah, like Stairway to Heaven is a song. It's definitely a... Stairway is definitely a word. Stairwell is a word too, I think. But it's... Yeah, I think they're both words. I just think... I'm not sure. I think a stairwell is like... like this... A stairwell makes me think of like a place, like down to a cellar, right? Or down to a basement might be a stairwell. Whereas a stairway would be like a staircase, right? I think of well as like a hole in the ground. And so I think of a stairwell as like a place that would go downward, right? So if you're at the top of a building and you have to like go down a column or something, I don't know. I'm just making that up. I have no idea what the etymology of the word is, but That's kind of how my brain thinks of them. And like if I'm using it in everyday language, I think that's kind of how I would differentiate. Let's sketch in a little bit. Is this a window? That's a window. That's not a door. This is also downhill though, so we are drawing things downhill, which means our eye line is up here. And so these are going downhill because they're converging before our they're converging sooner than the eye line would dictate, right? If that makes sense. I don't know if that made any sense. Those words were words that made sense together, but that's basically when you have lines that converge in perspective, but they converge lower than the horizon line, they'll look like they're going downhill. If they converge higher than the horizon line, so like if this is a horizon line but lines converge up here, it'll look like it's going uphill, right? So these lines, because they converge so high, this will be an uphill ramp, and then if you had lines converge down here, this would be a downhill ramp, right? Because this is our eye line. So anyway, that's a random advice. If anyone cared. Yeah, the perspective here is all out of whack. What am I doing? I think I'm gonna actually cut this off in front of the stairs. Something like that. Okay, yeah, the perspective's all goofy here, but that's okay. You don't need to be perfect. I'm just trying to block in some basic shapes. There's a pretty strong perspective in the reference. Yeah, it's pretty extreme. I'm okay with that though. You know, you could always measure things, and I'm just kind of eyeballing it. It's not the perspective I feel like is. It also doesn't help that this roof is slanted, I believe. So like this roof is at an angle, and this roof is, I think, flat. I think this one's a flat roof, and this is flat. This would be, if this wasn't at an angle, it would be going like this, I think. But it's at an angle, so it's like that, right? I think this would be like in perspective with this angle. But it's not. It's higher, so it kind of has a little bit of an optical illusion that breaks the perspective, I think. And if you're not careful, it's going to confuse you. But I'm pretty sure this is an angled roof going down towards the sloping down. And obviously, you know, in perspective, it's still angled this way, right? But again, it's angled. Like, I think a lot of times if you were to draw this, like, on your own, right, you'd want to draw it like this to make it very clear that it's angled down. But that's not the case. This is still angled that way, right? Like, because if in perspective, it would be more like that. So it's kind of this, like, it's almost an optical illusion where, like, you're drawing a slope downward like this, but the actual rain or whatever would run that way, right? It's very, like, MC Escher vibes when you know. A little bit. Not really, but kinda, sorta. Now, if I get the rest of the perspective right, that illusion should read better. I think. Drevzilla, what are you doing right now? Are you painting or just chilling? Okay, I think something like that. Something like that's not bad. Just chilling. Can't paint with the back paint. Oh, sorry to hear that. That does suck. So like here's a good example where this really is going to matter if I were trying to make this accurate. These shapes here, right, are getting smaller and smaller until this is our eye line. Right, and so our eye line is here. So this is going to be the one that's horizontal. And I feel like that's a super subtle thing, but it matters because in the photo, our brains can comprehend that this is a slope. But in my image, we're not going to be able to unless I get all the other stuff right. Which I don't, honestly, I don't think I'm going to. Even things like this, where you have like this angle here being at the same angle as this slope here. Anyway. You had tension building up, and I think I slept twisted, and now it's really hurting. Oh, dang. I hate when when I sleep on my neck wrong or something. And you just wake up, and it's just, oh, you can't even move hardly. Okay, now this is going to be... I'm going to go a little bit brighter here. And just try to get like this line shaping down. I might even add another fake line back here. So like normally you'd have the other side of the street here, but I might even add another, like a middle line. Just to make it converge lower, right? Because like this is our eye line still, right? And so this is a wall going down. Gotta do that yoga. Yeah. There, something like this is not bad. And then maybe we bring in some of that. There, I like the shape here. It's not bad. Now I can put in maybe some more of this light. We can start sketching some of that in. But maybe while I'm at it, I will start with these windows. Oh wait, there's 3 windows. Let's grab a dark color. Wait, perspective's way off here. There, something like that, maybe. That's not bad. And then we go here, just sketching out some shapes. Definitely gonna add some of that bright yellow in here. I'm trying to think how I want to best do this. I could try like overlay layers and different stuff. Those windows aren't symmetrical either, or are they not? Oh god. Oh, you mean like on the building? Yeah, that's true. These two are very close, and this one is like far apart. That's kind of weird. Yeah, that's very strange. But also makes it easier to draw because you don't have to be as precise because it's not precise. Although honestly, it's probably better that I would make them symmetrical. Either that or I really make them unsymmetrical because I feel like if you make them unsymmetrical and you don't get everything else absolutely perfect, it's going to look like you goofed up. You know what I mean? I feel like that's the downside of painting, is that unless you're doing absolute photorealism, you're probably gonna miss some things that give the illusion to that makes it read perfect. And so sometimes those oddities actually look like mistakes. I'd go the unsymmetrical. Yeah, like really push it, like exaggerate it. Yeah. That might be the route to go. Exaggerate it even more so that these two are really close. And then this one's really far away. Something like that, maybe. I think it also helps if the things that are like unsymmetrical, if you put a little extra detail into them to make it clear that you like it was a choice rather than just like sloppily paint it. I think that might also have an effect. I don't really know though. That's something I don't really have enough experience like intentionally making things look weird. Normally when things look weird that I make, it's because I just goofed up and it just looks funny. But not because it was a choice. Okay, I think this works. A little bit of light here. I think this is all bounce light, right? So everything here that I'm painting right now is shadow. Including this stuff. But it looks like this is in light. But I think it's bounce light. Because, like, this has got to be direct light, right? This has got to be direct light. And because these are shadows. These are obviously shadows of a tree or something. But then what's happening here? Like, here's also shadows. I think this is just, there's just a really strong light bouncing off of, no, it's not coming from these. Okay, the corners? Where's the shadow coming from on the corner? I don't know. I have no idea what's happening here. Hold on, let's go back to their source material. First of all, where's the sun? Sun is behind it. No, wait. Actually, I don't know. Where is the sun? I assume here, right? Yeah, it's right behind us. So what's casting this shadow? It's not the telephone pole, right? No way. Is it? I mean, it's gotta be, right? That just doesn't seem right. No. The shadows aren't that long, are they? I mean, I guess they kind of are. I don't know. It does look like it might be. Oh, maybe. That is so... you know what? I think it is. If you look here, you can see a little bit of white on this here where, like, the light is going around the pole. So, like, the pole is literally ending on this... That's, like, it's creating a tangent, basically. See that? Like, this light here, I think as you get to the top of the pole, where it gets skinnier, you can see the light actually peeking through. But this stuff, like I assume these things poking out, you can kind of see them, like, I don't know. That is weird. Oh yeah, and even here right on the corner, there's a little bit of sliver of light. See, that's like a weird optical illusion. This should just be bright. See, I'm thinking when I paint this, we do away with that. I think we just go straight into this. Oh. Right? I don't think we put the pole. And if we do put the pole, I think we put it here. Right? That way we can tell it's a right? That way we know it's a shadow. But yeah, I think this is all bounce light. Or at least like a raking light. Like maybe it is slightly catching. I guess this is probably catching direct light, just not as much. Or like this is like a raking light, right? So you see the light just barely, like it is yeah, like a raking light is like if you hold something perpendicular to something and shine it across. So here, I'll draw it. Let me save first. Basically, the light is like, so if you have like I'm trying to think how best, like if you have a painting, right? And it's a painting, it's on a board, it's hanging in a museum, and you shine a light straight at it, right? It kind of flattens out everything, but if you shine a light along the edge of it, you can see all the texture, right? All that texture. Kind of. I don't know why it's called that. Again, don't know the etymology behind it. But basically, or from another perspective, like if you... How do I show this? Like if I'm trying to exaggerate the perspective here. But if you shine the light perpendicular to the thing, all those valleys are... You get those big long shadows. And it's typically not very ideal for like painting or lighting like a painting, or it really shows texture basically. Anwa, hello, long time no see on YouTube. So basically that's what's happening here, right? Look, you can see these things, like this is just textured rock, and yet look how long the shadows are for something that's probably only like an inch thick or deep. Like, you know, this is just literal texture on a wall. And yet the shadows are like a lot longer than the texture itself. So I think this is just it's not a direct light at all, right? The only direct light is on the very tip. So if you have a texture here, you might have direct light here and here and here, but everything else is basically in shadow because it's those bumps casting shadows. And so you get this effect where the light, even when it's hitting it, it's really, really like it's as close to being in shadow as you can be, right? Because as the thing turns, like, you know, if you had a bunch of forms here, what am I trying to draw? Like, if you were to angle it a little bit more this way, right, instead of this, you'd be more in light, right? But still not directly in light. And then you angle this way more, right? If you swing the light around here, eventually you're going to be head on, and that's going to be like direct light, right? But the raking light is like at the side, basically. You're lighting the side of the thing, and it's catching a lot of that texture and bumps. Anyway, I think that's what's happening, and I think that's why this is so much more dim than this, is because you just have a lot, like, that light is not being focused here. I think that's what's happening. Anyway, it's interesting to think through this. But yeah, for those just tuning in or catching up or whatever, we are doing some virtual plein air painting. It's also the reason why, like, look at these shadows here in the window. These shadows are being cast by this, like... So, like, you're not really getting much light here. It's just on the rim of everything. Anything that sticks out is where you're getting light. So you're getting light here. You're getting light here. 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 Everything else is just like... And, of course, all the texture, right? You're getting random bits of texture in here. That's just barely getting the side of it. I don't know if this is the way I want to do this, just scribbles, but it's kind of kind of a fun way to do it. Anyway, and then of course this is direct sunlight. Anyway, fun stuff, I think. I think it's fun. And of course this is an angle going upward. Or downward, I guess, technically. These also, we have little divots because the corrugated roofs, which I'm going to exaggerate, I think. Anwa, how are you? You're the first person chatting on YouTube today. Or the first person who popped in, as far as I know. Unless I've missed somebody. And if somebody came in and I missed them, I apologize. Trying to make this a little brighter too. What else? Again, this is all shadow. This is very, very bright. But yeah, definitely understanding where the light's coming from can help you make choices that you normally wouldn't even realize you had to make. Like, if I wanted to put lighting on this this plant, like, okay, well now I can make this side lit. Again, this is very raking light, right? You can see just a little bit of like this texture. Like, look at that. It's almost not even in light. It's just barely. Most of it's in shadow, but you see this crazy texture, which is pretty uncommon, I feel like, to see. You don't typically see lighting, especially not like designed by a human, right, at this angle, because it's just such a weird angle. Like, unless you're specifically trying to show the texture of something, this is not very common. Which makes it cool, I think. Okay, so what I'm going to do is come in here, grab a soft light. Soft light makes things... Yeah, I can make things darker with soft light. Great. It doesn't even represent the texture well? Oh, I think it does. I think it gives... Well, maybe not totally. I mean, that's true. It makes it look more extreme than it is, right? It's going to make every little peak and valley look like it has a crazy depth. And like, this looks like you would cut your hand on it or something. It's way too splotchy? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this... In reality, these are not going to be this extreme. This looks like you're looking at, like, a topological... What do you call it? Like a map or something of like the peaks and valleys of like mountains, but like no, it's just like the super shallow bumps, you know? Yeah, that's true. It is a little bit unusual. Do I like where this is going? What do I do now to this painting? I guess I just finish it up. Finish it up, add some ground plane, add some of the details in here that I want to add, like the building, the doors, and some of the support structures and beams, some of this darker... That's way too dark. Something like that. Some of these darker materials. Just some random things in here. I don't know what else I need to add. Oh, the gate. This gate I could add. It's kind of neat. There's also a gate to the door, but I'm not painting it because I'm moving this wall over. So I'm just gonna add, what does this look like? Just a double on top, double on bottom. Double on top, double on bottom. Just go like that. Couple posts here. Something like that. We could probably go here with this thing to make this feel like they're steps. Maybe we'll even put some light down here just to like help shine on the steps a little bit more. We do have these whiter things here, so let's grab some blue. Some blue, gray. It's pretty bright. Now the question is, how much do I want to make these detailed? Not very much, to be honest. Okay, so let's add some basic structure, not structure, some basic lines in here. Wait, where is this going? What are these connecting to? Oh, these are oh, I'm dumb. These are not connecting to that. These are connecting to something out here. Now we can get these darker colors. They're connecting to this thingy up here. And then this is going into the distance, which is also kind of an optical illusion. Because we can't actually see what they're connecting to. So it just looks like it's going straight down. So maybe we can add some additional poles and stuff here. Something like that. A little extra just to show that there's like still an alleyway. And then maybe over here we can get some of that light bouncing in. So that orange. I'm liking this. I'm liking how it's turning out. I do think we can probably go a little bit grayer on this area with some of the details. And then up here, I am actually curious what does this thing look like? Oh, that's like a little bit of a brick that goes that way. It's kind of neat. And then these corrugated areas. Something like that. Just little tiny marks here to like show that texture as best I can. Because I feel like this texture matters. I'm actually really tempted to put it here too, but I don't think that's... I mean, that's not how it actually is, but one of those things where like I feel like I want that repetition in there. What else is in here? This is the last one that I'm going to do, I think, before I end. Although, I would like to raid Casey, and I think she streams today, doesn't she? No, she... Actually, I don't know. On Saturday? No, she streams Monday, doesn't she? I don't know. Casey, if you're lurking, totally not calling you out. Actually, I am. Kidding. No, I'm not. Don't answer me if you're lurking. I don't think she is though. Okay, but yeah, I do want to rate her. So, but I don't think she streams today. Pretty sure she streams Monday through Thursday or something. Monday through Wednesday. Let's see. What else can we do? These things have little bits of like board thingies. That's the technical term, board thingies. Like that. And then we have little bits of shape going there. Normally this stuff is not important and I could just call this finished, but I do feel like this, sometimes when you paint really like cleanly like this, it ends up looking void of all like space. It feels like it just feels empty, and I feel like adding texture and markings and things, you know, little, like whatever this thing is that's sticking out, just adding stuff like that adds so much life to the image because it just needs something that makes it uneven. If you go too precise with your perspective, it looks like it's like a 3D model or some it just doesn't have any life to it, I feel like. And that's something that I kind of struggle with a little bit, like if you're doing this super hard surface stuff. So that's why I think painting with like these softer brushes or texture brushes, just being a little more loosey-goosey with choices, I feel like helps a lot. In my opinion. I'm sure different people would have different opinions on that. Also, what is this? There's just a bunch of stuff here. Like another building. There's some darker shapes. Things over here. As it goes down, like stairways. Also, this is totally in the foreground, isn't it? That's weird. I goofed that up a lot. This is like here. And then all of this stuff is like down here. Again, does it matter? No, but I feel like I probably should have done something. Also, is this? Yeah, it's going that way. I think stuff like that would work. I think that's not bad. This stuff, of course, can be in light. The unevenness of the road's edge. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. That is an interesting detail. You're right. I should put that in. Also, really, just this edge in general. There's like the side area here. This also is going to help show the slope of it, you know, as it gets down and it starts meandering through. Actually, the road might be the most interesting part in this image. Almost unironically. I mean, I don't think that's actually true, but it is pretty interesting. There. I feel like that's not a bad... It's not bad. What about over here? Again, I'm kind of making up a lot of these details. You know, because I'm changing, you know, the scale of stuff is not super accurate here. But that's okay. Can you share the map crunch link? Yeah. Here you go. For anybody who wants it. It's a pretty cool place. Definitely a neat location. Now, I kind of don't like what I did with the texture here. I might just go in here and do this. Kind of smashing the brush in here just to get that texture. And then maybe I'll come back in and do... Like, I'll take, like, a darker color and sketch out a little bit more carefully the shapes of, like, bricks. Because I was a little bit loosey-goosey with all of that. There. I don't know. That's something. I think this works. I don't need to be super precise. I keep saying. Ooh, I think this is going to be a good spot up here to do this, where we keep these lines going in the perspective that we want, down. And then we do these stair-stepping things up here. That way you can kind of see that this is an angle going up. Right? Just little subtleties, I feel like, can go a long way in this. Right, like that's gonna give the impression, I think, a little bit that this is going upward. It's funny when you're painting a line that physically goes downward, but it is an uphill line. It is such a weird, like, mental breaking thing. I don't know if I've ever... I mean, I've done it for, like, drawing downhill stuff going up. Like for example, if you want to, you know, a city skyline, and then there's a hill that goes down, and then there's, like, buildings on the side or something. Like, I've done that where, like, this is going downhill, and then it can curve uphill at the, you know, towards the end. And, like, you know, now we're going downhill, and then you go uphill, right? This is uphill. This is downhill. So I've done that. But I don't know if I've ever done anything quite like this, where, like, the top roof of a building is going angled up, but your brain, or it's angled down in the canvas, right? Like, it's literally at this angle, right? Like, you're literally drawing it downward, but this is the uphill slope, right? So this arrow is sloping uphill. I don't think I've ever done that intentionally, and I should do more of that, because I think it's a cool... It's just a cool to draw things in these exaggerated perspectives. I feel like it just takes a lot more work to sell it, you know? You have to sell like these little subtleties of, like, okay, I'm showing you that each of these are stepping upward, right? By drawing in the perspective. And everything else has to be on point. I mean, this is not on point in perspective, don't get me wrong. This is garbage. But it's at least a little bit something. Or, like, this could also be extremely steep angled. Yeah, I think this is all for today. I'm gonna just clean these up, and I'm gonna be done. So let me do some quick cleanup here. How do I want to do this? First save. Let me move this off screen. So this will probably take a couple minutes more, but because I'm gonna get this Instagram ready, whatever that means. Paint bucket this into white. Go here. Ooh, that's... Hold up. I can't do that. Can I? No. So I need to merge visible first. Then delete this. What do I do here? I don't know the best way to do this. But definitely merge visible first. Then I can set the background layer to white. Then I can start erasing the outside edge to get that back to white. But I want to do that with a texture brush. So maybe I'll paint in white. I'll paint in white. But wait, why am I painting in white? Uh-oh. How do I want to do that? I could just paint in the white. Go like that. I don't know if this is the best way to do it. I'm gonna make the frames gone, but right now I'm keeping them here because it makes it easier to paint them out. Technically number 4 or whatever that is not... Like, I'm trying to get that effect of, like, where you look at it and you, it looks kind of like you've taken the tape off and there's been, like, a texture. Right? So it's not, like, perfect. They're still on a separate layer? Yeah. Yeah, the frames are still on a separate layer. I'm just using this to make them all the same size. Notice how the lettering is still there? The lettering is on a separate layer too. But I appreciate you looking out though, because that's an easy mistake to make, and then it's like, oh gosh, what have I done? But yeah, once I get this like that, then I can turn off that layer, and that basically cleans it up. Gonna round out the edges here, because I've been liking the rounded edges. It's a choice. It's a choice I like. Rounded edges. I know it's not a big... This is so petty. Maybe not petty. Is that the right word? That's not the right word. It's such a insignificant thing, and I know it, but you know what? I'm just... It's kind of fun to, like, put... It's kind of like putting your signature on something, you know? It's just like that finalizing touch where you're like, okay, I'm happy with this. Maybe petty's not the right word. Because I do appreciate the presentation when other people do stuff like that. It gives it a certain look. These are really... Yeah, there's a good variety. There's a good variety of them. I'm quite happy with them. Obviously, this one's very different because it was not a plein air painting, but that's okay. There. I like it. Done. Now, I'm not done. I joke. Or not joke. But first, let's... Okay, I'm going to go this. And I'm going to save as... I'm going to save as a JPEG. And then I'm going to save it as another file, ref, and name it the same file name but with ref. And now I'm going to bring back this. And I'm going to put the images in here that from the references. I know it's a bit of work, but I think it's nice when sharing it on social media to have, like, more or less the thing that you painted. I think it's always a nice touch to show the references. People have commented before that they liked seeing the references that I used, so I'll keep doing it. Obviously, not all of these are exact because I didn't paint directly all of them like that. This one pretty much could just sit there. And then this one. We'll go something like that. There. Now, oh, not that. Now we'll turn this back on, and then I'm gonna do more or less the same thing. No, I'm not. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna merge these. I think this is how I do it. And then a wand tool. I could wand tool. Select outside, hit delete. Turn off. No, I'll keep the layer. Something's not right. Something isn't right? What's not right? Oh, I have the other layers on. Whoops. This one. I'll just make a little bigger. Just to fill up the box a bit more. There. We'll crop this out again. Magic wand, select, hit, delete. Oh, that's not right. What happened there? Magic wand. Oh, on that. There. Okay, we can keep the border for these, though. Because these aren't painted. So the border would make it look nicer. Technically, we had a reference for this one, too, but it was a color reference. I don't know. Does that count? Doesn't really count. Ooh, these are really unique. Ooh, peeling bark trees. Yeah, the peeling bark trees were really cool. I really like this one. I thought it turned out nice, too. It was one of my favorites that we did, I think. You know, I will say, this one, we pretty much, like, very close. Very similar. I mean, obviously, it's not the exact same. This one's obviously the most different, but that was very intentional because I was trying to... It was more of like a material thing rather than like painting a location. But yeah, so now here's this. What's happening? Okay, so now we can save this as another JPEG. There, now I have both. Okay. The car, that one doesn't read very well, I think. Yeah, I mean, this doesn't read very well even in the reference image, right? Like, you can't even tell what... I mean, it kind of does. You can tell it's rocks. But yeah, no, it definitely doesn't read as well. For sure. I mean, yeah, that's true. It's not as clear. Yeah, this one's definitely not as clear. It's also not as well refined. Like, what is all these shapes and stuff, and like this weird compositional element? Like, why did I put that there? There's randomly 2 of them. So yeah, no, there's definitely choices that were made that were probably not ideal. That's okay. I didn't want to again, I don't want to treat these like final paintings. I think having some intentionality. This one I'm happy with because I think the choices I made were quite deliberate. I went a little slower, but I didn't do a lot of backtracking, and I pretty much just I got it a way that I think I'm happy with. Yeah, no, I like these. This was fun. Well, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. It means a lot hanging out. Hopefully I don't know. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And for those of you who subbed and followed and all this stuff, thank you so much for being here. Very much appreciate you. Let's go raid somebody. Flip that off. Alright, we're gonna go raid somebody. After I save this again. I think I've saved it like 3 times. But here we go. Another save. If you're on YouTube, again, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Maybe watching the VOD, whatever you're doing. Take care. Feel free to follow me on Twitch. That's where I stream live. And, yeah. You can support me